All right, there we are. Yes, hi. We are there. Just slight adjustments, issues, devices, and software changes. Wait, hold on. Hold on. You're not coming through. Ah. Hold up. Huh? What is... Let's call the whole thing off. Yeah, this is actually the best the podcast has ever been. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to, quote unquote, fix the problem. So let's try this. Okay. That didn't, quote unquote, fix the problem. Well, what if we switch that setting to that one over there, and then took you and put you over in this corner? Why is that way? Maybe if it was like this? Hello?
What do you have? What? Hello?
Yeah, that's... There we go. Okay. That would do it.
What did it?
So, weirdly, I guess, because I disconnected and reconnected the headset, and then the Discord output device was set to the default output, and it wasn't...
Oh, you can never use that piece of shit.
Right? So I was wondering if it was the hands-free problem again, but it wasn't, because that's a disabled device. But it was just setting to default, and then I switched it from default over to direct, and now it's fine.
Yeah, it's always the Discord's default thing. It's always broken, always, every time.
Why would that do that? Because all it has to do is refer to the system's default device.
Yeah, well, I blame Windows.
You know, sometimes software has a single job to do.
A one job only.
And then sometimes that job gets a little caught up in the weeds. And you're like, hey, if I open you, click record, and then save, will you make a sound file? And it's like, yes. Okay.
Thanks, man.
Cool. Will you also send my data to China through Russia and God knows where else?
And the police.
And the answer is, we'll get back to you on that. Are you over 13 or not? And then you go, you know what? I think I'll take my business elsewhere.
So to those of you who don't know about the audacity of this shit, Audacity, the audio program that almost everybody uses because it's free and it's good, just said, hey, the next update, we're going to store all your personal data in, like, Russian servers, and then if your cops ask for it, we'll just give it to them.
I actually think it was discovered because of the please stop using this software if you're under 13, like, update to the EULA.
It's all in there. It's
and then,
like, it's all...
Yeah, but that was the first eyebrow raiser. And then when they're like, what's the problem with 13-year-olds using audio software? And it's like, well, you can't collect data of anonymous 13-year-olds legally and send it to other countries. And it's like, okay. Right.
This podcast is now powered by Dark Audacity.
Currently, which is a branch that, popped up as the alternative. I did see other alternatives depending on what your purposes are, you know?
Yeah.
I think Megaran was suggesting something that was like possibly for more musical uses, but for what we needed for this shot ought to do the trick. I do find it it's such a weird thing because I was explaining to Punch Mama a moment ago about this whole thing, and it's like, yeah, for about a decade now I've been using this free program because it's light, simple, and does the job, right? And it turns out that in many cases, the more expensive program, which I'm willing to pay for if it'll do the job, will always be bloated with features and memory leaks and all kinds of problems that like don't actually help with the basic function. And in many cases,
I used Gold Wave a couple times and it sucked.
I don't hate Gold. I like Gold Wave, but I use Gold Wave for a different thing.
Yeah, I mean, for my purposes, it was like infuriating.
Yeah, for me, Gold Wave is for like it's for like post processing. But live Gold Wave capture, I don't use the features for that at all. It does great for post processing though. But I'm talking about more so like the difference between, let's say, an OBS and an XSplit, right? Where you're like, okay, the thing you've made here is now going to load with a heavy startup thing that connects, checks for all its updates, and then it's also going to run through a bunch of other shit that you're not going to need. And then there's going to be a memory leak so that after like 2 or 3 hours of using it, your whole shit's going to slow down and crash and you don't know why. And
that's
it's like,
good. That's good. You want that.
Gets frustrated, takes a week to make their own simple thing that just does the job. And then that becomes the thing that people use because it just does the fucking job.
I think it's really funny in Audacity's case because Audacity, up until the very last release, was an open source sound recording program. And so, like, even though whatever company bought Audacity and will continue to whatever Audacity in the future, you can't un-open source every version before this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can't... There's always going to be variations of Audacity that are free, like Dark Audacity or whatever other branches you want, that are just floating around that everyone will tell you to use instead of the official one.
Unless they go back and do shit. But, like, for now, it seems if you don't update, then you won't catch any of this. But it's like, let's just be safe and uninstall it on everything anyway.
I mean, sometimes shit just update.
Yeah. So I'm reminded of, like, how the battles between VLC supporters and Media Player Classic supporters can rage with all the fire of 1,000 furies forever. But they're both simple, small video players that you drag a video into and it'll play the video. And both exist out of a time when Windows Media Player officially would try to download new album covers, take 5 minutes to connect and see what's going on in your library, ask you for the 4th time if you want to sync up your new CDs, you know, or in some other cases, fucking Apple QuickTime is going to open up and show you the new fucking trailer for some shit you didn't want to watch, and it's going to take another 5 minutes because of the heavy UI and all this other background processing shit. It's like, for the love of fucking God, can it just have a play and a stop button with a volume knob, you know?
I think the ultimate version of this, and I know you feel this pain. I'm going to hold up my telephone. This is my cellular phone. It's a Samsung Galaxy whatever. I forget which one it is. The explicit reason why I have Android phones and will always use Android phones is because of multiple evenings of me screaming at my computer because iTunes would not just put a goddamn song on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Just eyes bulging,
yep.
Screaming.
Yeah,
I just want to drag and drop this fucking OC Remix album onto my fucking phone. God damn it.
Pop up like a hard drive and drag it in there. Nope, we have to stand in between and play bouncer between you and your own shit every time, no matter what device. And for a while, it wasn't just Apple. It was like, if you had any of the other like pocket music players, like a Creative Zen, I think was like one of the few ones that came out that like was kind of advertising that like you can just drag and drop, but it did still have proprietary software. You know, the Zunes and shit. There was a bunch of stuff where it was all about like, no, you need middleware to install your MP3s. We know you just want to drag and drop, but that's the point. The point is fuck you. The point is we're gonna make sure you're using our software. You know, it became like the number one thing that I kind of felt like, I'm like, that's Like, the end device would be the one that you plug into a computer, and again, just a hard drive pops up. And then you drag things onto it, and then it'll just... That's the final black box. And somewhere along the lines, multiple companies must have realized that, like, you can't give that much freedom. You have to brand it. You have to own it. You have to make sure that you can verify it and check whatever's being installed for you know... I mean, obviously, there's the pirating purposes, and then there's everything else they want to do. Data, step metrics, blah, blah, blah. You're giving all that away for ease of function and use and convenience, and that's not okay.
I remember a vivid period in time. I feel like it was a 6-month to 1 year period in which the PSP with a decent SD card was unironically the best media player you could buy. Like, because of this. It had a big screen, you put your headphones in and it worked well, and you just dragged and dropped shit into whatever folder, and that was it.
Yeah. It really is, like... It really is just frustrated programmers who can make a simple solution to all of this garbage are the people who save the day. In many instances, for video players, for media, for all these things. You come along with Media Player Alternative, QuickTime Alternative, Media Player Classic. You just fucking open it and it works, you know?
Hey, and you know what? Shout outs to Winamp version 2. I used that for like a full decade after version 3 came out. And version 3 had all that bullshit in it. And like all you do is you drag the fucking music into the little playlist and it played the fucking music. That's all I wanted it to do.
Warning, critical Windows update. You must restart Windows. Huge, big, important update coming through. Guys, don't miss it. It's massive. Security functions. We added weather to the start menu. And when you highlight it, it's going to show you pop news now. Weather pop news.
Couldn't
important update.
It fast enough.
Critical security. You must know that the weather is going to be fine tomorrow.
Well, the trick is that they actually bundle in the actual security update with that bullshit. So you get to have the choice of a nice holes computer and a slightly less holes computer with a little bar that I just screamed at and tried to figure out how to turn off as fast as possible.
I would wager a couple bucks that not a single person on this planet saw that feature and went, hey, cool, yay, I want this.
I can tell you one person that would have liked that.
I bet you every single person who has ever seen that immediately went, how do I turn this off?
No. My dad would have
Bonzi Buddy.
it.
Bonzi Buddy Boyvin.
Yeah. My dad would have been like, oh, cool.
Yeah, Papa Bonzi Buddy Boyvin. Yeah, all right.
Because you got too many games on there.
All right. He's my friend. He is useful.
Oh, he's cute. Dad, get the shit off the family computer. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's your games making the computer slow.
Sure. He's my buddy.
Oh.
Fine. Anyway, so Audacity was quite hilarious with their naming choice the entire time, and now literally with the audacity of this. But they were purchased by some other company that decided to do this, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, why don't you ever get your dad like a Tamagotchi? Just get him like a fucking Bonzi Buddy Tamagotchi.
No, he'd be like, what is this? What is this shit?
Put a search engine in it.
I legit... Do you ever go over to see somebody's computer and, like, I've seen this once, and, like, they have, like, the 5 toolbars, the 5 search bars coming down off the top of the browser?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh,
yeah, those days.
God, oh no.
There is that one screenshot of, like, it's just browser cancer in that one screenshot of, like, 80 toolbars. But no, I swore off running tech support for my mom for a while because I hit a point where I'm like, I can't do this. If I'm there in person, I'll take a look, but this is, it's too much. Everyone knows, you get it. It just, I couldn't. And
my mom, to her credit, only asks me in person.
Okay. Like, no, it was round the clock, but blowing up the phone, text, every format, every medium, whatever. It was anyway. And she recently needed some important documents like taken care of and shit. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. And then I set up the, like, all right, let's see it, screen share, remote desktop. And then you connect and you just, oh no, no. Oh no. Ooh, it wasn't good. Yeah. It was.
See, I actually have to run tech support for my mom specifically because she's not even the one who asks me. My dad asks me to run tech support for my mom so that they don't have a fight. Because it's a guaranteed situation where she asks my dad how to do something and he's like, fine. And then he shows it to her and she's like, I don't understand. And then it starts. So instead, when I'm over there, mom asks me if I can show her how to access her email or what have you. And it always goes the same way where I explain it and I show it and then I give it to her and I explain it as she does it. And then she goes, okay. And then before I leave, I ask her to do it and she can't do it. And so then I write down on a notepad every single conceivable step.
Yep.
And then I get a call later that night that one of the steps wasn't clear enough and now she's lost in her Chromebook.
Correct. Yeah, it's like, can we start with turning on auto arrange desktop icons and align them to grid? No, we need them.
No,
we need them just.
No, I like them where they are. I like them where they are.
They just poured out on top of each other, and yep, okay, all right. And if you, God forbid, you actually auto arrange it, then you've moved where the things that she knows where they are now, and that's anyway.
I've moved on to no desktop icons.
Correct. That's the actual answer. The actual answer is it should be the artwork and maybe a recycling bin. You know? But here we are. Back in the day, I remember when it used to be like fancy ass edgy desktop to match my Winamp wallpaper would also would also have a section for where your icons should go. You know? Yeah. There was a whole rhyme and reason to it, you know, but we've now gotten to the point of like, no icons, no desktop. There is no desktop. Open a folder if you must.
We left my mom alone with the computer for 1 hour back in 1999, and we came back and she had deleted the recycling bin.
Yeah, I remember this somehow.
Yeah. And I know you can't technically delete it. She must have moved it somewhere.
But yeah.
I legit was not able to fix it. It took my dad all night to find where the fuck it was or how to get it back. We don't know how she did it. It fucking lives on in fucking infamy in my mind forever. She must have dragged it into some fucking folder and then deleted the folder, freaked out or some shit. Oh my god.
You know, we could talk
old
shit
people, huh?
Yeah. Fuck them. As I lean back on my orthopedic chair.
Hey man, I've got a great segue into a story this week of me laughing at old people because they don't know how to computers. But if you got something.
I did want to make a point. I wanted to say that the as far as software, like jumping the shark goes, at bare minimum, you do have to give it up for Real Player because it was a piece of shit format and player and entire experience, but it never pretended to not be selling your shit to other countries and spamming you with ads. Real Player was garbage from day one, but it was honest. You got a banner ad the moment you opened it, some dude yelling at you about what you were about to play or watch, and a bunch of stupid buttons to click on that were too fancy, so they didn't really work. And it would buffer offline videos. It was terrible. It was terrible. But it told you right away.
My experience with Real Player was I wanted to watch the movie trailer off the official movie website, and you could only watch it with Real Player for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I would then download Real Player to watch it, and it wouldn't work. And I would go, God fucking damn it. God damn you. And uninstall it until the next time I wanted to try and watch a movie trailer off the website.
Yeah. Yeah. That was QuickTime for me. It was like you got to watch it. Well, you have to install the latest QuickTime. What are you doing without it?
And it's gonna install iTunes. It's gonna.
You don't want the Apple installer? No. I want specifically. No. Just get the Apple installer. We'll just we'll install Apple. Don't worry about it. Anyway, what old battle axe were you laughing at?
People are so stupid because they can't use a computer. Meanwhile, this past week, I had a plumber in my home because my garbage disposal in my kitchen sink stopped working. And that's real inconvenient because I like to throw food scraps and crap down there, and you hit the button and it grinds up and it goes away, it disappears. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with most food processors. I don't know if you got one.
I have one, but I've never used it.
If you got the food processor in your sink, depending on the way that it's hooked up, sometimes it doesn't drain properly when the food processor doesn't work, because the way it's sealed, you're supposed to just use the processor to clear the water. So my sink was like, it would drain, but it would drain kind of slow. It was annoying. So, I'm thinking garbage disposal, not food processor. My mistake.
Garbage disposal, sure.
I'm saying garbage disposal.
The thing in the sink that does the thing. Yeah, I have one.
That makes the garbage go away.
Yeah. I scrape it into the
those are different words. And I pressed it on it, and it was grinding some crap up, and then it broke. I was like, oh, sad. So I got a plumber in the house. I'm like, yeah, it broke. The garbage disposal broke. I don't know what to do. Do you have to replace it? And the guy like gets down on one knee and looks at it, and touches it like once, and it turns on and it's working. And I'm like, what'd you do? He's like, oh, there was like a thing. It tripped the safety. You just got to hit the reset button. I'm like, what reset button? He's like, this button. It's the big red reset button at the bottom of the fucking garbage disposal. And I'm like,
That's cool.
I'm like, well, I got a sink that's acting funny upstairs. Can you take a look at that? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. I pushed it down once and it doesn't come up. He's like, oh yeah? And he pulled out a wrench and put it on the top of my little sink. You know those sinks that have like the push? And he just grabbed it and he just yanked it once and it popped right out. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah. Okay. And I'm like, these dudes have been in here for 12 minutes.
Pay for his time.
And I'm struggling to think of something for them to do so that I don't look stupid, but there wasn't. And I'm like, okay. Well, thanks a lot. What do I owe you guys?
Yeah.
And then they charged me way less for the call because their next job was nearby, and so it was basically nothing.
Did you thank the men for doing their jobs?
I did thank the men for doing their man job.
Oh boy.
And then I asked them if they could come back to install a new shower because I want to get a new shower, and they were like, oh yeah, it's like a half hour. I'm like, cool, I'll see you guys next week. So like, this is specifically if I was living at home with my folks, those problems wouldn't even occur. Because if you give my dad a wrench and a plier and an Allen key and just point him at something, he'll fix it. Be it electrical, plumbing, drywall, fucking whatever.
Well, so
but then I make fun of him when he gets on the computer.
Exactly. But there's two ends to it. It's like, there's one is like knowing how to do that shit and knowing how to make the bookshelf, but then step 2 of being handy is, I don't know what this machine is, but if I can open it up and look at it, I can figure it out. If it's working like a machine does and it's not really electronic, I can probably see what's happened here. I can probably, loosen a bolt, and you take some time to kind of like knock around and eventually figure it out, I mean, I'm reminded of like the time when I was playing my Dreamcast, and I don't remember what it was, but Mom was mad about something, and she rolled in and she grabbed the controller and spiked it like a touchdown, and that was that controller. And I was like, well, fuck, these are not easy to come by in these early Dreamcast days, especially considering how the Dreamcast needed to be protected at all costs. So I asked my friend, Mo, who like had a dad that was like just hyper handy at whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, he could probably take a look at it, and he took the controller and then he gave it back to me like 2 or so days later. And he's like, yeah, so Dad says that like part of the circuit board cracked and a lot of the contacts were damaged. So he replaced it and soldered it with gold so that it would like be better, more efficient, and like it's a better soldering job than the manufacturer sold you. So here's your fucking improved controller, and it was like, god damn, okay, thank you, sir. And it was good.
I can't do that.
I did eventually learn. I did. That was a while ago, but when I had to learn how to make arcade sticks, I did learn how to do some of that shit, how to solder, how to get the drill, do a wood press job, and hardware and circuit boarding and wiring and shit. So I eventually got some handy experience in me.
I mean, there's also the weird in between total baby handyman ability and like somewhat competent, which is where I live, where I can build a shelf or whatever and screw some things in. But most of the time when I open something up and look at it, I go, oh man, I'm super gonna break this if I touch this. I'm going to put one hand in there and it is gonna fall to pieces. I better get somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, and I've managed to do okay. Although I feel partially like there's a problem in that Punch Mom is a bit of an enabler in that, like, so we have like a chair that's like missing a screw in the back, or like one of these little like stool things that has like a loose thing. So she's like, hey, yeah, there's a problem with this or that. And so I go to the toolbox and I grab the tools and I flip the thing over and I just tighten a screw, or I just attach like a bracket to a weak piece of wood. And then she's like, yeah, hey, good job. And then, makes me feel like I've accomplished something way bigger than it is. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Did the handyman thing. And it's totally just like the most minor nonsense bit. But I feel like she feeds into it. So I get a sense of over-accomplishment for essentially doing what those men did.
Whenever I put together like a bookshelf, Paige is always like, oh my god, wow, that's incredible. You're so handy.
Yeah, there you go. I think they know. I think they know that it's like,
they know
these stupid adult baby nerds have no function, like in their bones whatsoever. And you know what I mean? Like, let me just say this, be nice, and I don't know, maybe it'll like affect the testosterone somehow.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You
Give them a good pat on the head. They'll be happy for a little while. They'll feel like a big man. God. Also, one of the weirder things that I've discovered in the course of this conversation is everyone yelling at me not to put food into the garbage disposal. Which, like, then what the fuck is that thing for?
Yes, yeah,
Chopping your hand up?
This is where honestly, I don't know how to even use it or begin with this, because I didn't grow up in any place that was fancy enough to have a garbage disposal in the sink.
Oh yeah, me either.
So now that I have one, I don't
had.
know what the fuck to do with it, and I don't know what's supposed to or not supposed to go in there, because I don't know. I'm used to fucking closet apartments, you know? So I'm like, I'm just not gonna use it, and I'm gonna scrape my food into the trash like that's what we do, because that's what I've always done. Because I don't know what the fuck I don't know how to use any of that shit, and you know, I just never bothered learning.
It's so your sink doesn't get clogged after you wash your dishes. That's what a dishwasher's for. That's why you put your dishes in the dishwasher, and then the machine does it for you.
So if you're rinsing your dishes and you're getting the guck off, because you can't use the dishwasher. You can't put a plate of like spaghetti with the spaghetti still on it in the dishwasher.
No, that's ridiculous.
So I guess if you're rinsing off the major shit, then it goes into that processor.
There's a 3-step process. If you got like a chicken breast or something on there that you're not eating because you're an asshole,
You throw it in the garbage.
yeah, throw that in the trash
Or compost or whatever. Start a fire.
If you got like, I don't know, a couple noodles or like a fucking whatever, you dump that in the garbage disposal, and when you scrape it, you know. But then you put the rest of the dishwasher, and the dishwasher does your dishwashing for you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna continue not using it. It's been fine.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said you had one. Yeah.
It's right there. I just don't bother because I'm like, I don't fucking know. You know, it does. We don't need it. It just, the garbage will do, and then water, and then you're good.
I mean, worst case scenario, I can just throw down like whatever garbage I want in there, and then if it breaks, I can call a big man to fix it. What? No. Yeah, I put whatever I want in that Yeah, you put anything you want in the garbage disposal. Put you in the garbage disposal. Take a while. Get that insurance settled.
I feel like it would smell.
Nah, you just put some Febreze on it.
You know, if it's chopping up your shit, like I feel like it wouldn't go down completely, but who the fuck knows? Anyway.
I mean, you never know.
This week on the podcast, we figure out basic household appliances. Okay, well, not basic. Let's be real. I don't know. Maybe
I
times
cut
have
my hand
changed.
washing a dish the other day. That's why you can't wash dishes by hand. I was washing a bowl, and the bowl broke because I dropped it because the soap made it slippery, and then the bowl cut my thumb, and it's been like 2 weeks. It still hasn't healed because a big chunk of my thumb got cut out, and it still hurts when I do this with my thumb. So be careful with them ceramics.
There's stuff that, like, in my brain I thought was fancy because of perhaps when they first were introduced to me years ago. That I think of as fancy, like a garbage disposal, but that probably is super available, cheap, and very common now, and not a big deal.
Oh,
but in my brain, it's still like a fancy thing in some way. Because
I think the craziest thing for me is like this place has like I think it's called a shower panel, right? And it's like a shower panel that goes like above your head and does the rain shower. And when we got the house, I was like, ooh, fancy. It was like a rain shower. And then like when I was like, we want to get a new one, and I'm looking online, I'm like, oh, that's like the default that you would get for like a couple $100. That's like that's how showers are now.
There's a podcast out there called Are You Garbage, and where they just ask and interview people to find out if they're garbage or not. And there's like a series of questions like this where you can find out, like, how do you feel about this, or what's that, you know? And like and then, for example, do you have a second fridge in the garage? Right? Do you currently?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Do you have a deep freeze? Do you have anything like that, or you just have the one fridge?
I do not have a deep freeze. We just use the freezer.
Because if you had a second fridge in the garage, right, that's used for what, soda or shit like that, it's like, yeah, that's a sign that you're garbage because you got a new fridge, but your parents didn't want to throw out the old one. So they wanted to keep that one, and they're like, well, you can't just throw out a perfectly working fridge. So then you move it downstairs, and then you use it to hold soda cans or frozen foods or whatever, and it acts like a deep freeze even though it's not actually a deep freeze. And you're like,
we may have had one of those back at my old house,
and that's one of the that's evidence that you're garbage. If you have that second fridge down there full of bullshit, I'm like, oh man, that's exactly how that happened.
Had an absolutely gigantic deep freeze, come to think of it. It was like 6 feet long. You could put a person in there.
Yeah, that's then if you have an actual deep freeze, you're good. You're fine. That's class. Right? But growing up, if you had this we refuse to get rid of it because it, you know, like it got, God forbid, it still functions, then like, yeah, you fit into that category. So, you know.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch because when I grew up, I was like wretchedly poor, and I remember being like blown away. Like I remember going to my babysitter's, and she said, "Do you kids want to go swimming?" And we were like, "Yay!" And she brought us outside, and we were very small, and she just filled up a bunch of like industrial buckets. And told us to stand in them. And was like, look, you're swimming.
Yeah. See, like, it feels as if, like, some of the neighborhoods that were, it's like, okay, so you get to be, like, super fucking poor and ghetto, but you see some stuff that goes down in, like, America where it's like, oh, we cracked open the fire hydrant, and then the kids got to go play in it. And it's like, we never had that. That never happened here in any way, shape, or form at all. No. You know, nor were there block parties or any of those things. So it's just like you don't even get the fun parts of being poor. It was just none of that.
The fun part of being poor for me was like the safe spot to play in my neighborhood when I was growing up was those horrible back alleys between all the duplexes in Verdun that are just raw concrete and speed bumps that are perfect for tripping children. Just perfect for tripping young running children.
Yeah. No, for us it was the shopping cart graveyard.
I never had one of those.
Right next to our complex, there was a frozen wasteland where people would they'd go shop, they'd get their groceries down the road at the big supermarket, and they'd steal the carts and roll them back to the apartment complex, and then after emptying them at their apartments, they would just push the cart into the parking lot next door, and wherever it went is wherever it went. And some people's jobs were to go out and collect them, but where we were was just far enough that it wasn't worth it for whoever was being paid to go do that. It was just outside the range of like, fuck it.
Reasonableness.
So we just had like mangled, twisted, frozen over for more than a winter shopping carts tucked into a corner that were like sticking out of the frozen waste in some cases. Like it was a graveyard. It was wild.
Fuck. I'm just thinking back to like that first house I grew up in. Dude, it was right next to the fucking aqueduct. So fucking moth season was so intense It was like if you open your door, you're eating them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
it
the
was
sphere.
so bad.
You open your back door and you see the sphere of moths, and it's like a tight knit. Like you can hold it and like move it.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally, absolutely.
Oh, so awful.
But like we abandoned, like in the shit apartment I was in, like we just abandoned ever going in the back. Like we put our garbage back there so that it would like that's where the bin was. But there was no reason to go back there if you're not emptying the garbage because we were 1, 2, 3, 4 like 5 apartment complexes kind of creating like a U shape. So there was a shared backyard.
I know that type of place. Yeah.
There was a shared backyard in the middle of the U, right? And like, so like the project kind of like had, and then like there was like a fence, and then there was a really fancy apartment on the other side of the fence, and then there was like an old folks home, and then like down the other way you could see like, I don't know, like almost like highway or whatever. But the middle part where the in the middle of the U was like technically backyard. And it was usually gonna be, and oftentimes used as children are riding their bikes and playing back here. Except over time, it became less kids playing in the backyard common area and more of our dogs are gonna shit here and we're not gonna pick up the dog shit because we're too fucking lazy and don't give a fuck. And over time, it just became a dog shit field. And some kids kept going out and not giving a shit. I tapped out fucking immediately. And it was super gross. But, like, that's what happens when you're just sharing this area with however many, God knows how many people. And, you know, the ones who did pick their shit up eventually stopped doing so because if no one else is doing it, then why should they? So it just became a, like, let the dogs out back. They go dick around, do whatever, and then the dogs come back inside. And you never have to go walk the dog yourself because you can just open the backyard for a few minutes and then they'll come back on their own. And you don't even think about the mess. So that our backyard just became literally a minefield of dog shit.
When we moved to a nicer place, as my dad got a better job when I was like 7 or 8, we moved to a place that had like a real backyard, and we got a much bigger dog. And I, as the youngest child, got to discover that when the dog goes poop in the backyard in the middle of winter and then moves slightly, the poo becomes buried. And it becomes your for real problem as the youngest in a couple months when it starts to melt. And there are literally like 400 hidden dog shits in the yard that will show up day by day.
Yes.
And you go out there with a metal fucking shovel in one hand and a big stick in the other. And it's your job to just start scraping.
Which is why
that was a nightmare.
Just do it immediately every time.
Doing it immediately every time is, of course, what you try and do, except when you have a big stupid dog that will poop and then walk a couple feet and then kick snow onto it, at which point your only hope is that some of it is still visible, because otherwise you're going to have to dig with it with your fucking hands or some shit. I'm not doing that.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. That shit, it says front towards enemy on it before it goes under there. Anyway, it's nice to not live there anymore.
Boy, is it. To anybody, you grew up in Laval, right?
I grew up in Laval, but then the places I'm talking about are like because in Laval I actually had a house that was pretty like decent. Because that was when the folks were together, and then after the split was when we went to the fucking to the complex after Grenada.
That's so like I'm talking about, like, I'll put a name on it for those of you who live in Montreal. You would know I lived in 1990s Verdun.
Yeah.
Which was the second shittiest part of town. And boy, like, I go down there every now and then and they're like cleaning it up. but I can still see the dirt underneath the new paint. Like, it's gonna take a long fucking time to scrape all that grime off.
I was in the Code for 2 projects for a good bit of time, and that is a
sucked ass.
It you
was
know
the aughts.
No, wait, yeah, no, because we eventually around the 2000 is when we like finally, like, my mom was able to get like a house, and we moved from like those project areas ish to like this place that she had gotten, and like that was kind of like that's pretty much her house now still, you know, and she got her place, but it was
I've
the
been
90s.
there. It's very nice.
90s were Grenada, and then those
okay
apartments.
So me and you live tied for second. Thank the Lord we didn't live in the Point, which is my favorite story my dad ever told me. When I went to college, he told me, Pat, don't ever go to the Point. And he defined the borders of the Point. And I went, why? And he said, because you will literally die. And then I remember when you started to work in that area, I tagged along with you for whatever reason. And I went, oh, yeah, this place looks terrifying.
The weird thing about it is that it's not necessarily like where I was had like larger blocks of just like again, like complexes and project sort of areas, whereas the Point didn't have that, but the people were just dangerous and soulless.
Point St. Charles looks like you went to a different planet.
A little bit.
It's really bizarre.
A little bit. Anyway, the other thing though, and this is like I guess like part of the reason why we were in that fucking shitty apartment area for so long is because it was also down the street and around the corner from church.
Oh, so, man. Well, that'll protect you.
No matter what happens, no matter how bad it is, it only takes us, 10 minutes walk, 5 minutes drive to get to church. And that's what's important.
Means you're closer to the Lord. The Lord can get to you faster if there's danger.
For sure. Yeah. Anyways, those days. What's going on?
Oh, man. I played some video games or whatever. They're good. Video games are good. Are video games good? We'll just say they're fine for the day. I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight.
Video games are bad, but video game is good.
I get it. I can sign off on this. I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight because they're doing the anniversary thing. And,
yeah, I got a code from my friend who works there. I should install and check it out.
What's the codes for the base game?
I think so, yeah.
Game's fun. Game is also bad. Game is also good. Game is flawed. Dead by Daylight is like... It should not be as popular as it is. It is very flawed. It is very broken. It is constantly broken. The map that came with Nemesis, the RPD police station, still not available for play because it's too buggy. Like a month and a half after it came out. And it's also like really bizarrely balanced. And I feel like I could weigh in on this because I finally got good enough to get to the top ranks in the matchmaking. And that game has such a fucking weird balance in that your ranking is from 20 to 1, and 1 is the best. 20 is essentially unranked. And as you win matches or lose matches, you go up and down. From 20 to like 6... matches are overpowered in the killer's favor. From 6 to 4, they're even. From 4 to 2, they are massively in the survivor's favor. At 1, it is less so in the survivor's favor. And then the people that would be above rank 1, it's massively in the killer's favor. So my enjoyment of the game has shifted dramatically per rank that I go up. I was at 5, which is the last of the purple ranks, and I was having a blast and having good matches. And then I won just enough matches to get into rank 4, which is the first red rank. And all of a sudden, all my matches are miserable shitfests that I'm conclusively losing every single time.
Is it the difference between ignoring the meta and paying attention to it versus, let's say, hyper-specific types of advanced inputs or commands that, like, put things in the survivor's favor?
It's the difference between a team being completely full in Discord on voice chat and not.
Doesn't anyone
The purple ranks are where good players live, and the red ranks are where good players that are playing with their friends on voice chat live.
Yeah, so there's a threshold where if you're not playing with people coordinating together, you'll never get past this number. But wouldn't that be like the halfway point up the ladder?
Nope.
Okay.
Like like it's one of those games where most people are like really bad. And it takes a lot of time to grind out perks, and perks represent like a very significant power increase. But it's the hardest. It going from purple ranks to red in DBD feels like breaking into the Celestial Temple in Guilty Gear.
Okay. Because, the most interesting thing about what you just said there, because you've talked about Dead by Daylight quite a bit more, in different ways, but in that, what I'm curious about in what you just said is, like, what are the people doing that changes from the beginning to the middle to the advanced to the peak, you know?
Okay. So, I can talk as a survivor, as a killer player who mainly plays against survivors. From my personal experience, beginners and intermediate is new players, whether or not they have perks or not, that enable them to run faster or hide better. Genuinely good players are players that have gotten really good at the movement and can waste the killer's time and know how to focus down on generators. And then really good players are the ones who can do all that shit and have the perks to back it up. And then there's excellent players who can run your ass ragged all over the map and waste like multiple minutes of your time. And then there is the group that is multiple excellent players all talking to each other in voice chat. So they will say, I am wasting the killer's time over in this map quadrant. You are free to work on generators or do whatever you need to do on the other quadrant. Like, the game has a lot of perks that work to show you where a killer or survivor is, but when survivors are on voice chat, they can just tell each other where the killer actually is.
So it's knowledge of everything combined with communication.
It's a really weird game because the game has absolutely no in-game communication features at all for survivors, and the game seems designed around that. But when you're playing survivors with your friends, you just fucking hop in a voice chat on Discord. And the game's design doesn't seem to accommodate with how to actually handle that.
So then everybody creates their own new meta around assuming everyone else is doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I also played a little bit of Survivor for the first time and got to see that there's something that Paige had told me about, because she mainly plays Survivor and occasionally plays Killer, where when she plays Killer, she would get a kind of anxiety as being responsible for the cadence and the amount of fun everyone is having. And I never really understood that, because whenever I played Killer, I'm just playing to win. And then I discovered, upon playing Survivor, that there are an absolute shit ton of people not playing to win. they're playing specifically to be assholes. And these are people that grab a hold of one survivor, down them, put them on a hook, and literally park their fucking ass in front of that hook for the entire match so that at least they get the one kill and just remove the ability of that person to play literally at all and lose the match in general. But hey, they got that one kill. And there are tons of killer players that play like that. It is wild how many shitty players just want to ruin someone's day. Like, that's the only reason they're logging on.
Yeah, if you give someone the means to do that, then that will become a regular part of the community in any game.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's a big argument in the DBD like community, I guess you'd call it, as to what the term tunneling actually means. So you hook somebody 3 times, they die. What is usually agreed upon that tunneling is putting somebody on a hook and then just parking your ass there to make sure they don't get off. And if they do manage to get off, go and get that same person. And basically not ignore the objectives so that you can just ruin someone's day. However, some people get kind of pissy about it, and tunneling goes to mean, well, you hooked me twice in a row, dude. Or I happened to run past you and I had been unhooked a little while ago, so you hooked me again, even though we were on opposite sides of the map. And the way that DBD has tried to fix this is really bizarre. There have been almost no significant changes to the game's total formula in like 4 or 5 years. I think the only big change is what happens at the end of the game. If people just try and time out the match, there's now a way to force the match to conclude. So they go, oh, wait, we put out Bubba from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he has a perk that if you stay still, he essentially, all his audio cues turn off, which incentivizes standing next to people and trying to get people that come and help them, which is a horrible way to play the game. So what they do is they put a perk in the game called Decisive Strike, where if you try and pick somebody up too quickly after they get unhooked, they can get away from you. So they use like the in-game progression to try and disincentivize some behaviors.
Okay.
But now there's so many perks that like Decisive Strike isn't that popular, so tunneling is now back. They recently put out they recently put out Jill. She has a perk that if you go to kick a generator, a flashbang explodes in your face. And that's to counter like gen kicking strategies and perks. But now everyone just doubles back to ruin, and that whole part of the game is gone where you kick gens. Like, they're trying to fix it with progression, but there are now so many new perks all the time that it's always shifting, and they can't force people's behavior with it. It's really weird.
And are the new ones being put at higher and higher levels?
The new ones are associated with the new characters that come out per chapter.
Okay.
So, for example,
anytime there's a game where you have to unlock a bunch of shit like that that's going to become critical to how you're supposed to play, there's then that, like, oh, you're not even really actually playing yet because you haven't yet unlocked this thing aspect to it.
Yeah, that's what I was describing to you earlier with the difference between like good players and good players with the perks.
They literally
like,
just don't even have the thing unlocked, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say I want to play Pyramid Head, right? And then what's a really good build for Pyramid Head? A really good build for Pyramid Head is Discordance, which comes from Legion, which means you have to buy Legion. Ruin, which comes from Hag, so you have to buy Hag. Undying, which comes from Blight, so you have to buy Blight. And Barbecue and Chili, which comes from Leatherface, so you have to buy Leatherface. So that's like $35 if I want to play a high-end PH. You can totally make it work with any number of base perks or whatever, but like I find myself to be much more effective with that build than compared to something else. they do have like a system where with your level up currency, you can buy perks for characters you don't own in a shrine kind of thing, but it resets every week. And if you're not paying attention every single week, you can miss the good ones.
Fuck that.
Right? So like there right before the anniversary happened, like the subreddit was like, "Hey everybody, barbecue and chili, which is one of the best perks in the game. It's available this week. Go get it. Go get it so you don't have to buy Leatherface." It's that game is a fucking mess. And I love it. But it is duct taped together.
Teppen has started doing something similar where well, first of all, you have 3 supers that every character can do, but you have to unlock them by playing that character X amount of levels to get their, to unlock the ability to do that, to do the thing. So there is that, like, beginners with whatever deck versus, like, someone who's been playing it is not going to have access to a thing, but you get them pretty quickly. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But they started rolling out, like, there's new decks, new stuff, so the Breath of Fire characters and stuff are now in the game. But then they retired some of the old decks. So if you had anything built off of, like, when Akuma showed up or like some of the older Resident Evil stuff, now you can no longer participate in the ranked matches because those decks are considered unlimited.
That's one of those things that's like the natural progression of card games.
Rotations.
Hearthstone is the only one, to my knowledge, that really, really genuinely fucked it up because they said they weren't gonna do that, and then they were like, "Oh shit!"
But money though,
and then they did. It's not even about money; it's about like balance. If everyone has, if people have every card, they'll be able to create just freak decks that no one can compete with, and they ended up going, okay, well, we have to do the seasons. Fine, fuck. But they had already told people they weren't going to do the seasons thing. They told people their cards were good forever.
So the way that Teppen balanced out those changes, though, was by, like, whenever a freak deck would exist, they'd either nerf some cards or make them so that they're too expensive to really combine with other freak deck cards to put together. So you'd go over cost, and then you couldn't deploy that deck.
That's a smart way to do it.
But what they ended up doing, so like last time they brought out Phoenix Wright and stuff, the previous 2 or 3 first update decks were now considered removed. The rotation had to include the new one. I'm like, yeah, sure, it makes sense, and they retired a bunch, so make your decks based on the new shit only, fine. But then the new Breath of Fire stuff is out now, and that means that, like, the deck from, like, one thing before is now no longer included, and now it's like, oh, now you're just doing it like almost like every new drop you're gonna remove one in a way that is like basically forcing people to have to go in and buy the new thing every time, which up until now you didn't do, and up until now I think people were enjoying playing this for an extended period of time, making a decent deck and having it carry them for a while. And now you're doing this kind of greedy thing. So I'm like, I'm starting to, like, I had a pretty solid, like you saw, I did pretty well last season. And then looking at it now, it's like, okay, well, that deck is no longer usable. And it was made up of last season's cards. It wasn't even like multiple drops ago. So I see exactly what you're describing there with that type of, like, but this is the meta shift to make you buy the new thing. And I get it, but like it's not balance it in a way that is like not so out and out greedy,
It's really tough because I feel like the greed aspect is really granular, and it's not like usually with video games you can tell, oh man, EA's loot box shit is poison. Like, bam, done. But with the card stuff, it's like a curve, and it's like, I feel the distinction is, if I buy a new card right now, how long do I get to use it?
Yeah.
And if the answer is like, for my personal, like, if the answer is anything less than like a year, go fuck yourself.
Exactly. And I built up a bunch of like currency to make new cards, but from playing it a lot and like doing it and playing it constantly and doing all the little things. But and then you can, you get a bunch of packs for free, and then you can reap the extras and do all that shit. But now you get to a point where you're like, okay, well, I have this currency. I want to build a really good card and add it to my deck. I think this is going to be a good idea. Let me try this out. And like, it might cost you like, 3,200 like whatever powder points, and you're and that's like a lot. And then the idea that you would spend it, build this thing, and then have it not be usable within 2 season drops or so is like, that's fucked up. I never had to think about that playing it in previous seasons, but now the life cycle of this possibly going away into what they're called, and it's just, they literally just label it as, unlimited, and then it's like, okay, well, can I play online unlimited? And it's like, you can with your friends in a player match, but
that's weird. All the card games I'm familiar with, here's standard rotation that has the rules of this stuff going back to X date, and then they have you want to play the most fucking busted shit ever? Here's your other mode over here. Like, I know Hearthstone had that, where it had the fucking free-for-all nightmare queue.
So I was looking to see if they gave you that option here, and it seems like they don't. It seems like if you and a friend make a room and connect and play each other, you can do what you want.
Shit.
But if you play ranked or even just exhibition, those are stuck with the rotation, That's shit. Yeah. So the greed is not great when it's coming out there.
Like, if you want to bring in your old bullshit and fucking throw in to what is essentially fucking the marvel of card games in your card game of choice, you should be able to. I understand that they want to have the rules on ranked, yada yada, but it's so fascinating to me because this whole card game situation is so similar to that whole Destiny fucking sunsetting bullshit with the guns.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And it breaks down to, like, everyone can understand the reality of balancing this stuff unless you told us you weren't going to do it, or you take away the ability to use those things at all. So Hearthstone said that you kept your shit forever, and then we're like, oh, wait, it's actually a horribly imbalanced fucking mess we're going to put in rotation. So in a couple months, everybody using this year's worth of cards will no longer be able to use that year of cards. Wow, that's fucked up. I think I haven't kept up with Runeterra. I think the current state of it is there is not currently a rotation, but they have said since the beginning there totally will be. Like, old shit will eventually cycle out.
Because, like, if they had, like, as far as, like, shit for people to, like, wail on in games like this, with Teppen, they had these, they still do, and they're rolling them out, but, like, they have the things like Phoenix Wright skin for Chun-Li, or now there's a Nina skin for Jill Valentine. And then there's like set music when you play and cosmetic shit, there's a bunch of shit like that where it's just like, okay, you want to flex super hard, how cool is it if you've got a Phoenix Wright character being your main avatar or whatever? Well, good luck. It's practically impossible to get. You have to spend billions of dollars to ever get a shot at that based on the odds or whatever.
I think the absolute wildest version of that I've seen is in League of Legends. There's like, you buy the season pass, and then you have to earn a certain amount of a currency to buy a special limited time available to buy gold version of an event skin. And it's just like, I played maybe 100 hours of League. I never saw one. Like, it's for the uber whales.
It's just like, if you make a decision to put hyper cool cosmetic whaling in your game, then stand by the cosmetic aspect of that, and like let that be your choice, as opposed to the no, also necessary wailing for like competitive play or regular play or whatever, and then kind of it just anyway. I didn't like that too much, and I'm if I'm coming back if every time I take a break and I come back to the game, it's like you've got to buy a whole new deck or you've got to grind out a whole new thing. It's like, all right, well, I might just fucking chill and cool on this. And if that's what other games typically have, then I would really, really hate that for Runeterra and Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering and stuff.
With Runeterra, they're not there yet, so it remains to be seen what it'll be. But it usually is like twice a year an expansion comes out, and when the expansion comes out, it deletes one expansion from the bottom of the pile.
For years, I've heard about Magic the Gathering being like a series of your old decks mean nothing. Like that's been the entire life cycle of that game. That's all I've ever heard. So, yeah.
And it's this weird thing where it's like the solution to this problem is don't make new cards, which if you're trying to make money is obviously not a solution at all, because then eventually everyone will get all of the cards. And fucking Valve tried that with their card game, a card game that failed so spectacularly. I don't remember what it's called.
Nice.
I literally, do you even remember? It was a big deal. They wanted to push it very hard.
Not at all.
And it is gone. It was supposed to be it was going to follow the Dota model where everybody got all the cards and it was all cosmetics. Artifact! That was it. That shit's gone. I don't even know what happened to it.
Yeah. In this case, it's not just new cards rolling out, though. It's new cards and new subsystems in matches that you have to be aware of or possibly participate in. So like with Breath of Fire, they brought out quests, and with Ada Wong, they brought out like the locking and locking already existed, but in a more pronounced way. So they introduce like brand new mechanics alongside each of these these new drops too, So anyway, I've always, from the time that my friends used to collect Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Magic cards, I always used to just look at it and be like spending countless amounts of money on booster packs at our card shop every week or every month or whatever the case is, like that just seems like a humongous waste of money and time. And furthermore, the idea that you can just buy your way into victory seems really shit to me. That's why when I heard about the set deck kind of games where it's like, no, this is a game that has a set amount of cards and you participate in this way, that sounded cool. But
let me ask you a question.
It's clear that's not how you make money.
How much would your pal spend?
How much would my money? Yeah, that's exactly it.
Like a month.
Yeah, so like my passive friend would buy like pretty much just secondhand individual cards from the rest of them, and he wouldn't spend that much. So he would just kind of like get by on trades and whatever else they kind of didn't want, or they'd group together and do the whole what is it, drafting, where you pass it and you take one and you split your money or whatever. But like some of the fucking ones that were going hard was like, there was a dude who'd buy the boxes, like the box pack of like Pokemon shit at least once a month.
What was that? What was that, like $50?
Maybe 30 a month.
30 a month?
Maybe 30 a month on just collecting these cards and reselling shit, but like there's no way what he was reselling was a booster box, but there's no way what he was reselling was making more than he was outputting. Impossible. So even if he was stacking up tons of these and getting rid of them, it was still a fucking sink.
People are saying those are closer to $100.
The box?
Yeah.
Okay. Then sure, go buy that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's very interesting because like I pay $18 a month forever to play my favorite game. And I derive huge value out of that, but I'm also not dice rolling to maybe get, you know, a level up in 14 or what have you. Did I ever tell you, like, the ongoing problem with Dead by Daylight's perk system and leveling?
I mean, I thought you were...
It's become a severe problem. So every killer and every survivor comes out with 3 perks, right? And there's 3 levels of those perks. Level 1, 2, 3, they have increasing effects, right? Let's say every killer to ever come out, I played them as they came out, and what you do is you learn their perks so that other characters can learn it, and it goes into the pool of potential perks, right? Well, when you hit max level in Dead by Daylight, 4 perks show up in your level up tree that you can pick out of, and 2, you can get 2, and the other 2 will disappear, so you get to pick out of it. And that's called a blood web, and it takes maybe, I don't know, 50, 60,000 points to max out a blood web. Every killer that comes out that you do that for, or every survivor that you do that, means that the next character that comes out that you want to level up, all of those perks are in the pool. Which means when I was leveling up Nemesis and I wanted 4 specific perks, I had to go through 80 times 3 other perks to get there because they're all random.
And as new characters come out, it increases.
It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger per character. And their solution was, it used to be you could only get 3 perks at level 50, but now there's 4 that show up, so there's a better chance of the one you want. And it's like it took like something like 80, 90 matches for me to get enough points to get the perks I wanted. Whereas when I started, it took like 5. And it's only getting worse with time. Every chapter they bring out, it gets a little bit worse.
So let's be real here. Like, games plus time is something that, like, we're only seeing a few, like, we're starting to see examples of, but like it's relatively new in the sense that, like, the age of the games we grew up with would have a death cycle and then be on their way, you know? The idea of a game that would constantly be updated as a service over the course of the length of Dead by Daylight, for example, there's few other games that are very popular that can say they've done the same, you know? So, like, you kind of need, like, almost like there's new analytics, there's new metrics, there's new ways to balance things over an extended period of time that, like, other games haven't experienced, where you wouldn't necessarily think about, what is this problem, what is the system going to look like when we add 15 more characters 5 years later, and it becomes completely, like, ridiculous to anyone who's kept up with it, or worse, if you haven't.
Let's look at Super Street Fighter 4 or current Street Fighter 5. Hey, I want to get into Super Street Fighter 4. I want to learn to play Dudley. What do you have to learn? Dudley and 48 matchups.
If you care. That's
Right?
It's if you care to get good at beating other people, then you have to learn everyone that Dudley's going to fight against. Yes.
Right.
Otherwise, just don't care. But yeah.
So
I saw someone mention
Siege also has this problem very strongly, and I believe that
with the new operators. Yeah,
I played enough Siege to remember that, like, you don't get to see the other players very often, because if you're looking at each other, someone's getting killed.
Right.
So you having to keep the amount of interactions and powers in your head at all times.
Oh, that's true. In Overwatch, you're fighting another team, and you're having a bunch of interactions with their characters' powers and abilities.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, in a game like that, it must be, like, really brief, and there must be tons of things to worry about and think about.
I mean, it's interesting, because if you zoom out, if you literally move the camera up and zoom out, Overwatch will look like a MOBA. Like, the ability use and the attacks, it's just top down. But with Siege, I played it for a while, and the only time I ever saw anyone is if I actually turned a corner and they had their back to me, in which case they were just dead, or I saw their gun peek around a corner and I just instantly died. So like I started the game maybe a year ago and I only played it for a little while, but it was tough even then to be like, okay, this I need to be aware of people that can seal off doors. I need to be aware of a character that can move silently. I need to be aware of a character that can jam our phones. I need to be a character. And like, I don't usually get to actually see them in the match. I don't get to see who I'm actually going to square off against. So they all have to be kind of floating around at all times.
I also saw on the card thing, someone brought up that if you buy booster boxes, you can hoard them to make big cash on them later. But I'm dead certain.
Do that with Teppen or Hearthstone or Runeterra.
Yeah, but also back in high school, Carlos was not doing that with his booster boxes. Like, no, he was not buying and hoarding them. He was buying them and opening them and using them. And then, you know, tossing the extra to friends for reselling or whatever, but not as a...
I will give Dead by Daylight one, like, thumbs up thing that they recently did, and it is specifically to combat this, because Siege is the worst one of these that I can think of, which is, hey, you want to get into Siege? They've had season passes that are a couple characters, and like, do you want to really get into Siege? It's like a $350 game now. And Dead by Daylight was absolutely like that. Like, do you want to get in and like really play everybody and try everybody out and get all the perks? Holy shit. We ran into that because Paige originally started playing on my account. Then I wanted to play, so she had to use her own account. So I bought her the complete everything, and I was like, holy shit, it's like $300. They recently put out like packs of like, here's 20 survivors for like $40. Here's like almost everybody.
I mean, you know what this entire kind of conversation is, though? This is Squeenix having evidence that gas is right. Games as a service absolutely is how you make fucking money.
You can make a lot of money with gas.
Just make sure the gas is coming from an IP that you care about, or the players care about.
Not IP that you care about. The enjoyment in the game has to override the amount of annoyance.
You know what? Fair enough. Nosgoth exists. Yes. Never mind.
Right. So DBD, like, is crazy popular. I'm routinely shocked at how popular it is when you see the Steam stuff. The game's falling to pieces, and there's a lot that's too expensive, and there's a lot of design stuff that's super frustrating, but it's also the only game in its genre. So people put up with it.
And putting up with it has been like another mark of the industry for the last 20 years. I mean, you know, once upon a time, that picture of the Mona Lisa being chopped up into DLC pieces.
Oh, we're there.
That used to be a like statement that was profound in some way, you know. But like at this point, it's like, no, this is just the accepted poison you're gonna get with everything that's being sold to you. Like, it's just
what's happening.
If it's an online multiplayer persistent game, at least, you know.
That's like the MMO is the purest gas that has ever existed. And you look at, say, WoW and FF14, and FF14 has had a lot of problems over its life cycle, and the dev team has earnestly and honestly tried to improve on or fix or mitigate those problems. So everybody loves them for it that plays the game. Some people get tired of the formula, but yada yada, right? Every WoW expansion, I just hear about people quitting because the shit that they were mad about 8 years ago is still there. And you know, like and I'm not standing here to be like, wow, bad. I'm saying it's a good example of when your enjoyment is the same, but your disappointment starts to creep up on you. As soon as it passes, you're out.
Yeah. Yep.
There were 2 patches for 14 that I quit for like 6 months because the patches fucking blew. It was 3.1 and 4.3, where I didn't like the way my class played, and I didn't like the shit that was in there, and I just left. I'm like, I'm paying for not enjoying the game. I'm out. Bye. And if it had stayed that way, I would have stopped. But luckily, they improved it, so I'm back.
Shout outs to FF14 this week, in particular.
I got a really fun message asking me if we were going to talk about that.
I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot on the surface where it's like, yeah, big streamer plays FF14 and it becomes impossible to enjoy in that circumstance. But the video that we were linked with, let me get the name correct because it was pretty good, actually.
I also retweeted. I'm gonna go see if I can find it.
Yeah, it was a video by a gentleman named
there's a
Josh Strife Hayes, and it's called "Sometimes Streaming Isn't Fun," which is a little. The title gets a little more in depth than that. That's a bit of a surface title, but the content of it is basically describing what the act of playing something for yourself versus playing it for a stream actually consists of. If you were to like Control-Alt-Delete our brains and look at the processes running, you would see
primarily audience.
Exactly, right? So he does a really great job of like taking something that I've often hand waved as LP tax and discussing it in a particularly eloquent way. It's a pretty great video. Check that out. But it brings out, but it was spawned by the stream sniping in FF14 when said big streamer was trying to play the game this week.
All I really want to say is stop behaving like children. Stop it. And the second thing is that there was a really, really like good type of anger post, which was, look at me, I'm going to go harass this guy, followed by the screenshot of your 9-day suspension, followed by, what the fuck, how did they get me banned? This is bullshit. Which is, it felt like the Overwatch cheater thing.
A little bit.
It's like, I'm going to go break the rules. What the fuck? How can... Oh my god!
Greater internet dickwad theory.
Their toxic community got me banned. It's like, no, your name was visible. Square Enix actually cracks down on that shit.
And I would even say that people that likely wouldn't be like shits see all the shits being shits and kind of think it would be funny to jump in on the shit wagon in that moment. So that, and it's just a little like, fuck it, you know? And but it still results in, like, absolute fucking unplayable chaos. You know, so that is
there were parts of that chaos that were genuinely fascinating, that showed off like parts of the way the game works that a lot of people were unaware of. Like, the game will not allow a number of people above a certain number into zones. Like, if there's a certain level of people in a zone and you try and go through the door, it goes nuh-uh.
So I caught a whiff of this madness when I played it the other day for Nier, and I do get the feeling that, like, if not for like Min and Skull and you know, those groups that kind of like were organized to do these raids and to do them, like, if not for that organization beforehand, it probably would have been just as unplayably chaotic.
If I
were to go through it on stream, like, completely.
I went through, like, I'm definitely not as big as some certain big streamers that have 100,000K in there right now. 100,000K, that's hundreds of millions. They don't have 100K in there right now. And it wasn't, my F14 streams also weren't as big as your Nier one because you were a newbie and people desperately wanted to see you. But like, I don't know, I'd get like 800 people in there, and I would always go through a fucking process before the start of the stream.
Hold on, Wooly, don't act like you played it. Wooly, you did nothing. Okay, all right. Allow me to. Let me correct myself. If I started a new character towards the end of the stream, and then we laughed about potentially going further or not. If I were to continue that character and keep playing them forward in that way without planning from groups of people that I would be playing with, it would have been a similar type of experience. I could have explained myself better. Let me do that. Let me clarify my statement. So I hope that makes sense.
But like, I would literally always go to an out of the way location. I would server hop so that I wouldn't be on the server that people associate with me.
Okay.
And then I would start the stream. Like, I would do all my pre-stream stuff and then start the stream right there. And
how effective
even
is that?
then,
yeah,
somewhat. I think my absolute favorite version of that was some friends of mine who play the game were watching. And when I started the stream, a gentleman showed up on the front lawn of our house asking where I was and confused I wasn't there. And then once my camera switched to my actual location, they went, "Oh, hey, gotta go." And then like 10 seconds later, literally like creeped up into my camera frame. And it was like, come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
I am not saying their name because I don't want to blow them up because they're actually a huge fan and they watch our content. In fact,
but the spot,
I'll send it to you.
The spot was blown up.
Don't put it on screen this time.
Okay. Don't recognize the name.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay. He's been in your streams. Okay. But it was like, come on. Yeah, it's a whole mess. Like, gas is weird. Some gas is good. Other gas is not as good. It's all. I think the trick is that it's all within the limits of tolerance.
Mm-hmm. But
your
admittedly,
personal limit of tolerance.
Exactly, and that tolerance is not determined by, but that tolerance is preset going in when you say to yourself, as this video describes, I know I'm streaming this game right now. I know this is a different beast, and I know this is a contaminated experience. So, but let's make the best of it. You know,
right?
You go in not expecting too much, at the very least. And
it's one of the reasons that when Endwalker comes out, I've decided I'm not going to stream it. I'll stream it the first day, but the rest of it I'm not. And it's not even because of playing for the audience. It's not even that. It's because an MMO launch that first 2 weeks or 3 weeks is actually about being on Discord with all of your other MMO freak buddies and chatting about it and having a good time. And, I'll wait for you to do this and then we can do it together, yada, yada. When I was streaming it, I could only stream for so long before getting exhausted. And I ran into the situation where all my buddies had beaten it like 4 or 5 days before me. And I would go into the Discord and they had to stop talking.
Right.
And that sucks.
That does,
man.
Suck. Yes.
That makes you feel like an asshole.
And this game in particular, you guys and my other friends have talked about how the story is actually really good and worth experiencing properly, as opposed to just like a passive nonsense thing while you do your dailies and enjoy the ride, you know? So like in a case where it actually matters in that way, then yes, isolating it so that you can enjoy it properly in your own time makes a ton of more sense.
I'm calling it right now. I'm going to have a 9-day vacation at the launch of Endwalker. I'm not going to stream. Fuck off.
I get it. I did. It's funny because there's like, the mitigating effects that I attempted to, well, not attempted to, that I still use are ones where it's like I still, since I'm streaming and YouTube recording effectively at the same time, Let's Playing at the same time, I still do like try to upset the balance of 80% chat, 20% game attention by forcing it to be a, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm not going to necessarily acknowledge you for showing up when you come in and things like that. And like, as everyone knows, I mean, even right now as we speak, it's a battle, because the nature of streaming as a platform and the appeal of it is in the ability of people's attendance to be something that can be interacted with. So recording a podcast, which is not meant for interaction while people are interacting, recording a Let's Play while people can interact, but doing it in a way that is not going to make it like jarring or unfun for people down the road, is cutting into what is naturally appealing about streaming. And like I'm going against the grain, and I'm fighting against like the thing that you're supposed to embrace when you use these mediums, you know. And I realize that it's fucking salmon going upstream on it.
It's a hard life we live. It's very difficult,
challenging, right? Yeah. I mean, we're
basically superheroes.
Listen, I'm not going to pretend. I'm going to be very honest. I hesitated on the retweet for a moment, because I'm like...
Oh, did you?
I did. Because I did have that moment of like, what if... Like, there is that moment of like, oh, boo-hoo. Woe is you, internet video game person.
Yes, it's true.
And I did have that moment. And then I went, but... the breakdown of what is happening while you do this process is really good here. And I think legitimately an audience member who shows up to watch these things, you're not thinking about that. We've brought it up over the years many times.
What do you give a shit? Like,
yeah. You're just, you know, we brought it up many times over the years, but it really does just kind of like, it's like, it does underline, it's like you have a vision or a memory of going through that starting tutorial area very engaged in a very different way, you know?
Do.
It's a whole unique thing, and it makes so much sense why not only are you attached to these characters, but like you hung on to every word of every detail, and every doorway was remembered when you walked by a door that you didn't open. And when, you know, like a line of dialogue was missed, it was like, yeah, you were 100% focused, and that was the only thing at the time. But here, it's a multifaceted task. Him describing it as 80-20.
Basically superhuman.
Basically.
It's See, I get around all that boo-hoo with self-aggrandizement.
Of course.
Because you can't take it seriously. It's so stupid what I'm actually saying.
See, and Punch Mom told me to get around it with science, because, like I said, she brought those two those two things to the table. The one about repeating new tasks in front of a crowd, and like literally how your attention, focus, and skill goes down in a certain. Whatever. It doesn't even matter at the end of the day, but it certainly does make me like feel less completely garbage and worthless when it comes to like playing on stream versus on my own time, and the difference between what my brain feels like in those moments.
God, I forget what I was playing, but I was playing and it wasn't like everybody could see it, but it wasn't on stream. And people were like, "Oh wow, Pat's actually decent." I'm like, "Yeah, it's easy to be decent when your brain can actually devote itself to the fucking task."
And what's really interesting too, from another angle of it, was, okay, I'm gonna address you guys in a second. Hold on. Was the part where you are introducing, let's say, not live streaming, but when we used to record offline.
Yeah.
And even though there was no live stream, no one there.
No person in the corner, no fake monitor person.
In your brain, you know that you cannot spend too long going through this area of Hade's Tower of Flame.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
because it's a let's play and you do have to get a move on. You know that because you know that in 7 seconds someone's attention span might just like turn off, you know? And or whatever the case. Not actually, but you are aware of like the timer in the corner of your head, of your brain, telling you keep it moving, you know.
Like it's a fun little thing, and this is getting real in depth to it. So I'm in a very nice air conditioned house right now. I very much appreciate the cool air. I am doing a podcast with you, my co-host of like 10 years, and a friend of 15 to 20. I don't know. And I've done 600 of these, right? Like a shit ton.
Sure.
I'm sweating. I would not say I was audible, like, you know, I wouldn't say that I feel stressed, but I guess I am, because when I finish this podcast, I'm going to be drenched in sweat, and I'm going to be tired.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I remember the last time I brought up social facilitation because I heard about it in this context. I feel as if a number of folks were like, that's not what it's used for. And the answer is no, it is used for that and many other things. It's a very broad-ranging topic that covers lots of aspects because of functionality and performance of a task with new information or with people working together. There's a whole lot of aspects to this thing that are massive, and one example in particular that applies to what we do is like when you do a rehearsed task under pressure in front of people versus doing an unrehearsed task under pressure in front of people, the Olympian will perform better. The person who's never played the game before will play worse, right? This is a part of the broad definition of the multiple things. Now, it also refers to other things, and I'm sure for those of you who were aware of that, you think of those other things too, but it does include this large encompassing aspect of it. And that's a part of it that I found
you're saying
fascinating.
Is that I deserve a gold medal every day.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. That's
you are a champion, and the Yerkes-Dodson law that describes the empirical relationship between pressure and performance means that you are a hero that deserves every praise heaped upon you.
I knew
constantly.
it. I just knew it. To move on back to ostensibly the purpose of this podcast, which is usually video games, I do have something else that deserves all of the praise that is heaped upon it. And that is something that you should play one way or the other, Wooly, and it's the new Ratchet and Clank game. That thing is A++ perfect. It is. There are no flaws to that game. It is super excellent. It is incredible. Like, I got all the collectibles, and then collectible number 23 of 25 was infinite health, and collectible 24 was infinite ammo.
And did you say this was the first of the series you've played?
No, I played some of the older ones.
You
back
played
on
the older
PS2.
ones, okay. All right.
It even ends excellently with I don't even want to spoil it.
Okay.
It's just great, and it sucks that when I talk about, man, everyone should play that new Ratchet and Clank, it comes with the underside of, oh man, someone's super mad that I said that because it feels like I'm rubbing it in, because they fucking can't.
Get a PS5. Yeah.
Just go get one. Just go get one.
Is it a simple, just like good platformer go, or does it matter not knowing or caring about anything else Ratchet and Clank
you
related?
just go right in. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It has a story, but its story is 100% contained within itself.
Okay. And I need to specify, not only do I not know, I also don't care about any other game in the franchise.
You know what? That's fine.
Okay.
Ratchet is a Lombax and Clank is a small robot.
Okay.
And they had adventures before the start of this game.
Okay. That's about as
Like,
much as I could discern.
There's a long running villain that shows up, and in most things you'd be like, oh, who is that? What's the backstory? The backstory is that he's an evil robot man named Dr. Nefarious, and he's bad.
Dr.
Because
N?
he's Dr. Nefarious. That means he's evil.
Anyway. Dr. N is also Crash Bandicoot, right?
That is Crash Bandicoot.
Right, okay.
That's Dr. Neo Cortex, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, game's super de-duper, ridiculous, excellent. I can't... Like, I encountered one bug, and I laughed, and I reloaded the checkpoint, and it put me exactly in the same spot, and the bug was fixed. Like, that's literally the only flaw I have to say about the game at all. And could you believe that such a visually immaculate, well-polished game was made with no crunch? Is that even possible? Isn't that crazy?
Did they specify that? Yeah, that was
That not only did they specify it, I got it double confirmed because one of the visual effects artists was in my stream, and we were having a laugh at the expense of a certain somebody who says, "Oh, they probably crunched on it, really." To which our visual effects friend was like, "No, we didn't. We didn't crunch on it. Why are you telling me that the game that I worked on, and you didn't work on?" Like, come on.
Do you think games could have a little sticker on them saying "Made without crunch"?
I think the
made without
platform
dolphins.
holder. I think the platform holder would never let it go through.
100% tuna, no dolphins.
There's absolutely no way, like Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo would let that go through, because you see that on the shelf and you go, "What's crunch?" And why doesn't everything else on the shelf also have that sticker? If you went to a butcher shop and picked up a can of something and it said 100% beef and it had like an official sticker on it, and you looked around and nothing else had it, you would go, "What the fuck is going on with this place?"
Yeah. People might actually catch on to what is happening. Yeah.
It's no way.
That's a damaging flex. That's a fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, look at...
like, just now without child labor. Right on the box.
Yeah, right on the box.
You know, like, uh-oh, wait, what? If that's made without child... Huh?
Like, let's say I get dog treats for Zangief, and it says "now with no human meat."
Yeah, just...
What? Why does this have a sticker on it that says "no human meat"?
Yeah. Interesting. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Cool.
I'm going to be streaming this week. Shocker. I'm going to be streaming something called Boomerang X that Devolver sent me a code for. I'm going to stream more Mass Effect, and I'm also going to stream Monster Hunter Stories 2, in which I keep making the pun, "I will definitely gotta hatch them all." Haha. And the joke gets worse every time. So come on by over at twitch.tv/PatStaresAt for more of that high-quality shit.
Okay.
What about you, man? What's your week about?
Yeah, over on my end, mainly Strive, right? Taking the opportunity to catch back up and make up for lost time, which I did do, and yeah, and it's been that fun process of like taking it from the initial like stages of just like pressing buttons, having fun, dicking around, and now I'm like I brought out some of the notes. I'm diving into some frame data, doing matchups, doing what's cool in this game, round call training mode. So you can set training mode to every time you restart the screen, it can go round one, you know, like heaven or hell, duel one, let's rock.
Oh,
and
cool.
Then you can test out like round start interactions. And that's
interesting.
yeah, that's been very informative because you can literally practice these things, you know. And a lot of that, which I can get into, and I had some really fun discoveries. But like one thing that is very pronounced and interesting is the discovery of the latency in the different versions of the game that's come out and come to our attention. Which it's funny because Reggie and I had a big talk about this too, because like we played did like a first to 10 like on like when it first came, or not when it first came out, but like maybe like 2 weeks ago, and like it went more so in my favor, but he didn't have as much time with the game. Then he came back and we did another set, and then he did like really good, like he fucking stomped me. But I was also playing on PC for the rest of the day of that session last Saturday, and I had a really odd experience with it because I didn't know, it felt like something was just off, you know, and I couldn't quite tell what it was, and I was wondering if it was a matter of lag issues, but it didn't feel like it, because but it was mentally, I wasn't sure what it was, and I didn't want to, and I remember I initially started playing with the 360 controller, and then I actually like unplugged it and switched over to the PS5 controller to be like, maybe I'm just feeling something different, maybe it's, you know.
Yeah.
And I was very unwilling and concerned about like making excuses for me just playing like shit and everything being weird and having a hard time, you know, because like legitimately at the end of the day, when you take an L, you take an L, you know, you don't sit there and make Johns and excuses over bullshit. So I just kind of was like, yeah, I don't know, something. But anyway, whatever, played. And I just had a really, and like I won matches later, I lost matches, but you can go back and you can tell in the episode, I'm really like having a weird day with the game.
You're having what I'd like to call internalized Johns. You're smart enough not to say it out loud, but in your heart, you're like, but why though? But what is this? This isn't right, John.
And I think, like, and so we ended up talking about it, and then Reggie brought up that there was there was initial talks of a discrepancy because PS5 and PC, like, there were issues that like you would get where if you put on VSync, you would increase the input delay by
as
a
always.
bit, but you know, he was mentioning that is like, but on console right now, there is a bit more lag, and that like people are going with PC because of the mitigation of that. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting, maybe. And I was like, that could be the case, because in that case, it's not like I'm playing it one way, which is more responsive, and then I switch over to a less responsive version of the game. It was the opposite. I was playing it with that like lag, and then switching over to that lag,
and now you can't adjust to the speed.
But
it's too responsive.
But I was like, what feels different and why? You know, it's interesting because like going the opposite way for just didn't register. So then someone who did a great job and breaks these down on his Twitter all the time. And let me give credit where credit is due, because Noodles on Twitter, Nigel Woodall, breaks down a bunch of this stuff and goes through the testing process and just posts a lot of information about like, yeah, input lag in these games that exists from port to port. And the breakdown of Strive on the different versions is that on PS5, you are actually playing with the most input lag. So you're getting 93 ms, which 93.60 ms, which is about 5.62 frames, right? And then everything from there going down has better performance. So here's what's weird: not only is PS4 getting a better a better input lag rate out of it, but if you play the PS4 version on your PS5, you're also getting a better frame rate. Or not frame rate, excuse me, a better input lag number on that. So yeah, it's about 5.6 on PS5. If you play the PS4 version on your PS5, it's 4.9. PS4 itself, 4.7, 4.8 on the PS4 Pro. And then PC, VSync on, 0.7. And PC VSync off, 0.68. So...
Hey, go fix that.
That is a 5-frame discrepancy between the two. And that's not insignificant. That's, you know...
Go
That's
fix
there.
that now.
There's also accounting for, it's not mentioned here, but for some reason plugging in, I think, Hori sticks, they've noticed as well another modifier, like specific sticks create another modifier in the tests. So it's just a really weird situation because a lot of the time this goes the other way around. And it's very weird that, like, here now people are having the discussions about, like, oh shit, are we going to have a bunch of PCs for local? Is this going to be, you know, what we do? Because consoles has always been the, like, easier way to go about this, like, offline tourney life.
I have a solution for you right now. You can fix this tomorrow. Take the PS4 version, the PS5 version, and the PC version, and increase the input delay to 100 milliseconds on all of them.
There you go.
Problem solved. They're all equal.
Yeah. Now, this is definitely, like, yeah, a thing that's like, please do fix in near future. I had such a weird time, you know, where I'm like doing things and I'm like, even in matches that went well, I'm like, it doesn't. So that I'm like, all right, well, time to stay on PC and to keep, like, basically relearning there. So I redid my rankings and I'm repracticing and I'm relearning and I'm kind of going over everything again and getting used to reacting with the correct, you know, thing, because I like, there are moments where, like, there's just, again, a little bit of a different feeling to, like, moments where you're getting wrecked in the corner when Milia's jumping all over your shit, when Chip is doing his Alpha Blade or his command grab and you have to react to the startup of him starting to teleport upwards or backwards behind you to cross up or jump. You need everything you can get on that. So, yeah. So I'm taking the opportunity to go over it and relearn, because I was taught wrong as a joke. It turns out.
Just 6p it, man.
No matter what. Yeah. And this is also something that I think, like, I would say that, like, folks who are, like, jumping into their first Guilty Gear ever, or, like, jumping into one of their first fighting games ever, are not going to notice this difference. It's particularly microscoped, but it is the difference between a jab and not a jab, because 5 frames is about that amount of time.
The difference,
it's literally about the 5 frames is a jab.
I might switch over to PC as well. I don't know. It depends on if you can get a lot of matches there, because that's the difference between being able to jab that fucking dolphin out of the sky and not.
You don't rely on reacting to Totsugeki.
I know you don't rely on it, but you can. And I have.
Well, it's so there's a discussion about prediction versus reaction in fighting games, and you know, there is a in-between state where it is, I am predicting with information that expects you to do something here. All right? Pre-action was the term that was kind of used.
I like that.
And it's essentially like, I know I can't react to the startup of this dolphin, but I'm putting the button out, anticipating the rhythm of it, you know? And if it's the slow dolphin, he hangs out for a second, so you can react to that. But the faster one, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't rely on that too much. But this will help.
When I say I was jabbing him out of the air, or May out of the air, It's literally like, he's going to do that fucking dolphin. And then the instant the character's state changes.
Exactly.
I hit the button.
Yes.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just jumping. But they're not, because it's the fucking dolphin. It's always a dolphin.
They're standing in dolphin range, and they have stopped moving for a moment. Because if she's moving forward, she has no charge. But the moment she stops moving, well, now there's a charge. And now you just expect a dolphin. Yes, that's correct.
Motherfucking bitches.
But I bring this up because it's like, I don't if you're someone who's, again, brand new and you're playing fighting games for the first time and you're having fun with it, like, you know, don't feel as if like, my purchase is contaminated. You know what I mean? Because I would say that's not the case. You can still have tons of fun with the game, but this is something they need to fix, and they need to fix pretty quick, because for the better you get, the more it's going to be something you feel. And for anyone who's, you know, high tower and above that, or playing this particularly competitively, this is like not even a discussion worth having. It's like, no, you play the version that doesn't have 5 frames of input lag for sure, you know.
Ideally, I would like to see. They said they were thinking about getting crossplay in on this.
They're one of the interviews mentioned it as a possible future development. I remember,
because this would obviously have to change before crossplay happen, right? You can't have some players fighting with fucking 5 times reaction time than other players.
Yeah. It's you're not experiencing the same matches. You're not experiencing the same game for sure. But you know, beyond that, the labbing process has been fun. I've been digging, trying to see what's out there, and it's funny because like Twitter and Discords are the new way to exchange fighting game knowledge, and it fucking sucks because it's so decentralized compared to the older days of like forum, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you used to go to SRK and it was right there. Or you go to Dustloop and it was right there.
Exactly. And thankfully Dustloop is still there, and Dustloop still has lots of great shit for you. When you go to those the wiki pages, they have the extended frame data breakdowns. They've got discussions of matchups. They've got like the full. They got all the info you really need to just like analyze the character and see what's going on. But as far as like tech goes and things like that, yeah, the forums were the way to do it. But forums have started to go the way of the dinosaur, unfortunately. So now you have Discord, some private, some public, that you got to go find. And in many cases, you have a hashtag on Twitter, So hashtag GGST _ and then like the character letters.
The character's code.
The character code, exactly. And that can be helpful, but it can also lead to a lot of like stuff that is, for lack of a better term, like useless. Because like people that don't really know the game that well or fighting games that well might think they have something on their hands, but it's not real. It's not handy, so there's no real. But then you did used to see that too on the forums back in the days as well. But there'd be a discussion immediately to be like, oh no, that's not valid because of this, that, or whatever.
I still vividly remember going to the SRK forums and arguing for hours with Ultra David about how they should fucking ban training mode from events. And he was like, nah, man, they got to know that spacing. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It looks like crap, David.
And
that's the kind of shit you get to not have immortalized in a Discord server.
Now, fortunately, having a Discord for a dedicated character does give you a lot of resources and matches and all the things that an old SRK forum section would back in the day. Like if you find a good Discord for a character, then you can find a lot of knowledge and communities actively sharing and talking and shit. But at least in the SRK days, you could jump over to the if Makoto's doing really well at one event, suddenly everyone's staring at Makoto's page and going like, "Whoa, what the fuck is with this character?" And you can go see.
Nah, man. Discord's the way to go. You know why? Hidden tech. Let's go back to everybody not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that fucking Wild West nightmare.
Discords,
people are showing up to events and doing moves you didn't know were in the game.
Not a whole lot of players are gonna add Discords for characters they don't play just to dive in and see what they're saying about matchups that you need to know about. You know, it's again the chaos of the modern social media era has affected how easy it is to get your hands on this information. Yeah, just stop learning. Exactly. Return to fucking monk.
Save it. Save it for when it matters. I want people to be pulling out secret tech out of their back pocket like it's an anime, man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about this mix-up. I've never used it. Do I have to use it now? It's only top 8.
And we're also firmly in the time of like, hey, that's a pretty sick combo you got there. Now show me on someone other than Chip. You know, because everything is being done.
Chip at max
risk. yeah. There's literally a little like a clip someone has of like Soul versus Kai in the video, like, you know, so instead of reflecting on themselves, they blame the beast. And Kai's like, hey Soul, I hear you got a pretty cool new combo. Yeah, you should check it out. It's a full touch of death. It's like, that's nice, but Dragon Install. Show me on someone other than Chip. You know, and it's like, yeah, there's shit where you see, even without Chip on max risk, there's some shit that got posted like yesterday or so where it's like Soul does a dust and then has full meter and then does 2 drift Roman cancels in the air and like drifts downward and just like basically like mashes S in the air and then
yeah, I saw that one.
And then drifts behind him and then keeps smashing S, and in the end he just does
like a Mugen video.
He just does jump S like 9 times and it's just a kill. It's a touch of death.
He's doing a little circle around him. It looks completely broken.
It's insane. It's completely insane, you know. But yeah, all of that's really fun, and also starting to implement and get used to playing around with fast Roman cancels, right? So this is a really
those are hard,
but that's what they used to be. That's what they were back in the day. Romantic, you're moving. There's no slowdown here. Exert brought about the Matrix mode, and I remember old heads were unhappy because they're like, oh, don't slow the game down. That, you know, fast is good. Fast means you have to keep up. My reaction speed's better than yours. But then it made it better for new players, you know. And in this case, it's like taking a system and going like, yes, same inputs. You have a thing that used to be really, really fast and hard in the older games, and now it's much easier to understand. And if you're new, you can just do a big pop, and it's raw, and it's very obvious you're doing it, and you can do some cool stuff afterwards. But if you cancel it before the bubble pops and just go right into the shit, as if you were playing old school Guilty Gear, you get better damage because that bubble never hits the guy, and you get better combos.
I have this really torn experience with Guilty Gear Strive right now. I'm playing it maybe once, maybe twice a week for an hour or two, maybe 2-3 hours. I wouldn't say I'm going super hard into it, but it's one of my like long-term rotation. Like, yeah, I'll hop on and play some Guilty Gear. And I've had such a great time with it. And most of the people that I talk to have had such a great time with it. And I'm torn because I talked to you and you're loving it, and I talked to my friend Jim and he's loving it. He's playing Soul though, so fuck him. And I go on Twitter, and there are 2 very nice people that I like very much that I follow on Twitter that literally complain about Strive every single fucking day.
It's a lot.
Every day.
It's a lot.
Every single day. And it's always like, God, I wish this game didn't feel like shit, dude. I mean,
listen.
And it's like, man.
Hey, man. I like you. It's a lot.
It's.
But you know,
and you
you're
keep
allowed.
playing it every day.
You're allowed to say what you want in your own damn house, in your own front yard. And if you show up,
you are.
if you show up to hear it, that's your fault. You know? And if the algorithm chooses to show it to you, then that's just the way the fucking cookie crumbles. It's a lot.
And the worst part about it is they're way better than I am. They're way better than I am. So when I talk to them and like I'll DM them about it, like, oh, I don't really understand what the problem is, and they'll explain it to me, and I go, yeah, but I like it when I do Potemkin Buster and I RC it into the grab, and it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. No, we're just it's KOF 13 again. So, you know, as we Isn't it fun to vague tweet buttons in real life?
Yeah.
Vague casting. We're vague casting right now.
Yeah. Hey, these people I actually really like. It's just I wish they would stop subjecting themselves to something that made them so unhappy.
Okay, here's the part of the video where he raises his eyebrows and makes a quirky face and goes,
Oh. All right.
Anyway,
so aside from Guilty
it's good.
Gear, what are you up to?
It's good. I wanted to also mention that like the whole resource thing is still it's always been a problem where, you know, we've talked about how you have to go outside of the game to get the information you want, and I know that in this particular case, like, the missions are there for helping give you some knowledge, and that's good. I liked that Mortal Kombat actually showed you really simple frame data on its move list. I get that that's the type of thing that might, you know, like, the idea is like we're going to deter people and shit, but this discussion's being had in many ways, and Max is weighing in, and all these people are weighing in, where it's just like, at the end of the day, like, you don't have to hide information to make it not scare people. You can put it in there, and people are going to go as far as they feel like going, you know. And I'm going to have to.
I think there's one reason that they might be hiding information, which is if you put frame data in the game and you could see it, and you put the hitboxes in the game, even the average player would go into training mode for a while and go, "What's up with 5S?
Probably.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Why is the hitbox so huge? Why is it the only slash in the game that's plus on block? How come it can hit me when I'm playing plus R?"
Because he's main character privilege. That's why.
Oh man.
Main character privilege. You're allowed. Yeah, the game resources do have one thing, which is replay. Because it's very early, there aren't as many YouTube and Twitch streams to go like heavy digging on. There's tournaments. You got the USA versus Japan 10v10. You got some awesome recent events. There was Levo. And you've got tons of players that tons of tournaments you can go watch footage of now. But I mean, when you want to like immerse yourself in like footage of a matchup or a character, the replay mode is where you can turn for that. And you can just basically go sort by celestial floor, sort by the two characters, and sort by my character winning. And then just go watch some shit and see if you like what you see. Occasionally I'll watch a video and I'll be like, this dude's just not, like, none of that's real, or the person he was playing against didn't know how to challenge him or whatever. But the replay is still handy for like, oh shit, you can do that or this or whatever. So watch your own replays, but watch other people's replays too. In-game feature that, like, because you can sort by all that shit, might come in handy for you, you know? So just a shout out to that feature. Yeah. I mean, honestly, all I really did was play Strive, so.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's a fun game.
For the next couple weeks or so, like, schedule-wise, continuing, Disco Elysium as we do, and it might be a little sporadic as we go forward. I got things I gotta work on in the background, busy life things. Also, you got your 10G. So
yeah, I got my 10G.
That's cool.
I didn't even get any side effects. I'm one of the lucky ones. I just felt kind of tired.
Cool. Mine was originally scheduled for much later. I moved it up, but I still wanted it to be at the 12-week mark since that was apparently better efficacy.
Well, I got it the 8-week as soon as I could possibly get it.
Yeah, I decided to wait for 12 just because, again, there's like that one thing where they basically went like, well, we don't know the in-betweens, but we know that the manufacturer recommends 3 weeks, but the 12 weeks has shown better immunity. So
I was talking to the lady and the nurse who was going to jab me, and she's like, "Oh, you do not like needles?" I'm like, "No, I don't really like needles, but I don't care. I don't care what side effects this shit gives me. Just jab me. Hell, you got 5 more? I'll take them." And she looked at me like deadly serious, like, "You do not want to do that. You would have to go to the hospital." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Some people have tried to get extra vaccines, and it fucks you up, dude."
Damn it. Yeah.
It's don't get extras.
No, that Thanos meme is just a meme of like, Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, just getting them all like,
I'm gonna travel to Cuba to get that Cuban one.
Get me Sputnik. It's just a meme, please. Don't do it for real. Your body at the end of the day is only human, and it's. But anyway,
so I finally scheduled an appointment for a haircut.
There you go.
Which I desperately need, but I didn't feel that comfortable getting an appointment for it before I had my 10Gs.
And now you do. So there you go. So yeah, that's going to be coming up for me as well. But in the meantime, shit's going to be sporadic and busy. So my schedule will be a little random here and there. I'll let you guys know from week to week, but yeah, some days might be missing as per usual and such. But right now, at the very least, we're going big sessions on Disco, and fighting game Saturdays. That's how we do it. So anyway,
is Disco the best game?
I mean, we're talking contender.
Yeah, it's just.
We're talking contender. Anyway.
It's pretty good.
I thoroughly enjoy every single session. Heavily. Especially now that, like, we're in a state where, like, I think the character we're playing has started to emerge. I think the personality of the character we're playing has started to emerge. So, yeah. I can't wait to fucking again get back in. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors.
Do you mind if I take a quick break to use the washroom before that?
We'll take a quick break first. All right. Yeah, just as we were making the transition over. So yeah, you can check out, of course, the channel Wooly Versus for disco and fighting games and all kinds of good stuff. And also, I did a little interview with Hold Back to Block, the Bestaban, the genius behind the Killer Instinct documentaries and the other stuff that he worked on over at No Clip. And yeah, I did a little interview talking about just the process of making the Guilty Gear lore videos and, some questions about how it went and stuff. So that's going to be happening, I think, at some point in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, stay tuned for that, I believe, in case you were curious. All right. Sponsors this week.
I love our sponsors.
This week, we're telling you about Raycon. We're telling you...
Raycon.
Wireless earbuds.
That wasn't like a stop thing. That was like, oh man, yeah.
Wireless earbuds. It's what do you know? What do you need to know? You wires bad, wireless good. We're already in this future. We're already here. And Raycons are giving you the wireless quality with your earbuds without the ridiculous, prohibitive, expensive, over-the-top, premium wireless earbud prices.
You know what else is bad about wires on your headphones / earbuds?
Mm-hmm.
This phone doesn't come with a headphone jack.
There you go. Neither does this one. And I made the mistake early on, a while ago, before I knew of getting some premium wireless earbuds. And you know what they're doing now? They're collecting dust in a corner because boo. But those Raycons are getting constant use. They're constantly being charged. They're with that with that 6 hours of battery life, and of course the range of colors customizable if you're interested. But I know Punch Mom likes the black one. She's using them, wears them alongside her sleep getup, puts the mask on, and just gets all cozy for bed, and uses them on the regular as well as taking calls. It's just become a regular sight. She's now one of those people with the Raycon in the ear on a regular basis. I'm like, hey, can you hear me? And she's like, I can't. The sound is gone. These earbuds are doing the job.
So what you actually mean is you go, hey, can you hear me? And she goes, what?
Yep. So then I call her. And then she's like, oh, here, I can hear you now. So what you do is you go to Raycon to get your headphones going. They're offering 15% off of their products for our listeners. If you go to buyraycon.com/superbeast, that's 15% off of your entire Raycon order. It's a good deal, so you can grab a pair and a spare for 15% off at buyraycon.com/superbeast. That's buyraycon.com/superbeast. Get the wires out of your life. Get the comfortable earbud. Thank you, Raycon.
Thanks, Raycon.
Look, the word bud is right there. It's like they're buds. It's like friendly.
Oh, man. They're like your friends.
It's like a friendly word. This podcast is also this week brought to you by Honey, dedicated to defeating the promo code section of every shopping site you've ever been to. The promo code bar. You've never even interfaced with it, right?
I always go to buy something and they're like, do you have a promo code? I'm like, where am I supposed to know where to get a promo code?
Are we special entitled people born with silver spoons and promo codes in our mouths?
Definitely not.
So how the fuck are we supposed to know? Well, you don't.
I don't know.
Well, Honey knows because that's
what
they
it does.
Do? Honey literally that's the whole thing. The whole thing it does is it searches for promo codes. It's got one job, and that's the only thing that it does. And it finds them when you're in your shopping cart for over 30,000 stores online. It'll apply a promo code automatically, and then it'll save you money. And then you buy it for less because now you have the promo code. You were not born with the Silver Spoon promo code in your mouth, but
I was not.
Honey can go out and get one for you.
And then put honey in the spoon.
And then spoon feeds you the honey. Look at that. It comes together like butt cheeks.
Does that...
That's what they do.
What?
Over 17 million members have saved over $2 billion in savings. So it's basically just giving you back some free savings. So all you got to do, if you don't already have honey, you could be straight up be missing out. It's literally free, and it installs in a few seconds. By getting it, you're doing yourself a solid and supporting the podcast. You can get it for free at joinhoney.com/superbeast. That's joinhoney.com/superbeast. Thanks, honey.
Thank you, honey.
And last but not least, sponsor this week, Imperfect Foods. Imperfection is kind of what we do here. It's a bit of our MO. We've talked about it.
Still good, though.
It's still good. There's nothing wrong with that pear. It's got a little dent. It's got a little weird shape. It's not perfect.
This podcast is not perfect, but that doesn't mean it's not providing the same amount of delicious taste and brain nutrition to you.
There you
just
go.
like food.
There you go. The content, that's what matters. The content is also not great on this podcast, but the content of your fruits and your vegetables and your slightly imperfect foods is still good. They just don't have what the grocer would be approving of when he's turning it to rotate those fruits forward towards you. Well, stop the waste. Imperfect foods can help you because billions of foods go to waste every single
Did you just say billions of foods?
Billions of food. Where's the lie? Where's the lie? Billions of food goes to waste.
Yeah, you're right.
Food as a unit.
Yeah.
One food has been wasted just right now. Now another one. That's three foods have been wasted from the time I started this sentence.
That's several foods.
So Imperfect Foods, there's basically on a mission to eliminate food waste, build a better food system for everyone by delivering sustainable, affordable groceries, including produce, quality protein, eggs, dairy, pantry staples straight to your door. Plus, adding new discoveries, fun, tasty things you can try out as well. Stuff that you can only get from Imperfect Foods. And you can personalize your grocery plan when you sign up. Make it flexible if you want it each week, however you want it, with whatever frequency. And, of course, they've also got the specific low-emission deliveries that can fit your lifestyle, save time, help the environment. It's all conscientious. And it's, you might even find yourself a cute little tomato that has an extra bump, and it looks like a little cute, like, buddy. It's like the little bump. And
sometimes Imperfect Foods are just straight up better versions of the regular foods. Like, you get, like, a mega tomato.
Yeah.
Like it's tomatoes into like a giant tomato.
You might get a cucumber that's like a meme waiting to happen right to your door. Think about that.
Because it looks like the Among Us guy.
Exactly.
That'd be a red pepper. That'd be a red pepper.
All fruits can be Among Us. Every delivery from Imperfect Foods is an opportunity to meme. And that on its own is worth the price of entry. So right now, Imperfect Foods is offering listeners 20% off your first 4 orders when you go to imperfectfoods.com and make sure to use the promo code SUPERBEAST. Try Imperfect Foods now. For a limited time, get 20% off your first 4 orders. On your first order, go to imperfectfoods.com and use SuperBeast to sign up. Once again, 20% off your first 4 orders at imperfectfoods.com, code SuperBeast. Thank you.
Thanks to Imperfect Foods.
Right.
Oh, that got me real good. Oh, that. All right, all right. I'm good. I'm good. All right. What do you want to talk about in the news? What's going on?
How about imperfect consoles?
Yeah, how about that? Hey, what if you buy a new one that costs $50 more and will slightly improve a bunch of things you didn't actually care about?
Rotate the Switch to face the front of the shelf. Make sure it looks nice and shiny. The new Nintendo Switch OLED has been announced. And let's be real here. They added an Ethernet port, thank fucking God.
Wait, I shouldn't clap for something that should have absolutely been there originally.
Thank fucking God.
That's a problem rectified. That's not a value add.
So, you got the OLED, you got the...
That is an upgrade.
You got the Ethernet.
Got a wider stand. Wider stand.
You got the 4K.
No.
Oh. You got the half-step generation better processor.
No.
Oh. You got the white and neon red, neon blue colors.
Yeah, the white looks good.
You got the white. You got the white.
I think it looks nice.
Oh. Yeah. So it is
slightly bigger. What do you call it? Internal storage.
Now here's the thing, right? This is the discussion here. I expected, based on the time frame that this release was happening in, which was Nintendo's been quiet on the hardware front for a minute since they put the damn thing out. I was actually expecting a new 3DS style major hardware improvement model kind of thing being released, where it's basically a newer, stronger system that supports all the old games, like that half step. And the half steps are ones that you I can easily ignore this because I don't actually play the Switch enough for me to really need this, and I always play it docked. The Ethernet is the only real thing here to bring to the equation, but otherwise I can completely ignore this. So by it not being an actual half step that makes it a better console with better storage or stronger or whatever, it's easier to ignore. So I kind of, on the one hand, don't even mind that it's just a minor switch up for extra money.
You're totally right. I think there's a couple of things about this that are super weird. There's one thing about it that I think is absolute complete bullshit, but I'll get to that later. It's really weird they're not discontinuing the old Switch. There's just this new one that costs $50 more. Usually, I would have expected, if it doesn't have any real hardware improvements other than the screen or something like that,
would replace
I would expect it to it would replace it, and then the old one would drop $50 instead of the opposite. That's kind of weird. It feels like a bad deal compared to every other Nintendo revision ever. And the thing that I think is actually complete bullshit is there is one feature that I cannot believe did not make it into a revision, and it was the ability to use Bluetooth headphones.
Oh, voice chat. Cell phone on the desk.
No, I just mean Bluetooth headphones.
Oh, okay. Connecting, listening. Yeah, okay.
It's crazy to me. Also, in the trailer, they show a guy playing Splatoon. This has nothing to do with OLED Switch, but they show a guy playing Splatoon with his pals, and he's not using the Nintendo solution for voice chat with his phone. He just has a 4-way call on his phone that is sitting on his fucking desk on speakerphone.
Implication.
And that's how Nintendo wants you to play online with fucking 4-way calls on your goddamn phone with the speaker on.
I mean, look, it was either that
shit.
or a quick shot of a laptop next to him running Discord.
And he's got his headphone. He's got one ear in the headphone.
Yeah.
The other ear is pulled back so he can still hear the game.
No, or the 2 headphone mix, where you wear one of each ear,
it's. Oh, they're shutting that feature down? That thing's going away?
So that's why the speakerphone was being used. Yup. Good shit. Listen, Bluetooth connectivity would mean unauthorized peripherals connecting to your device.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There it is.
A headphone is still just a wire going into a port. But this is an unauthorized connection. So it's ignorable. It's fine.
You're right, it's completely ignorable. It's very interesting to hear that people were clearly told that there was a new Switch coming out. And they were told literally nothing. And that's where all the editorializing got added, where it's like, oh, it's going to have a new GPU and it's going to have It's like, yeah, everybody who said all that just made it up. Just 100% made it up.
But now, moving forward, Smash players will have a reason to get extra angry at the people who have an Ethernet option but refuse to use one nonetheless. Now your righteous indignation is extra righteous because they have the choice while they disappoint you.
Oh well.
So. Or I expect some screenshots at tournaments to be used of an Ethernet cable plugged into nothing.
Yeah, that's good. See, look, it's wired.
Where's that wire going?
Into your ass, fucker. Stop asking me about it.
Yeah.
Like, I am relieved. It's like there's literally as somebody plays the. Let me restart this. I play the Switch undocked approximately 0% of the time.
Correct.
This new revision of the Switch is $50 more, and to somebody who already owns a Switch, provides 0 value. Like, there's no change.
Like, if there was 4K, right, I would have been like, well, at least docked. I can get a better looking visual out of the thing.
I literally just want to play Age of Calamity at, like,
it would have been
above 15 frames a second. That's literally all I want.
But, like, how do you really want... Do you really want something running in 4K 30? Or like, yeah, sure. Or like 4K 20, 25 or 15 or whatever the fuck some of those games are.
I will play 720 30 right now. But like Age of Calamity is hilarious.
Jump Force 4K 20 FPS.
Oh my god.
Oh, what a weird. Anyways, yeah, so that's what you're getting. But I mean, hey, like I said, anyone who hasn't gotten a Switch at this point, you're getting an Ethernet cable out of the damn thing. You're getting that. So go ahead. Now, all that's nice. But more than this new hardware rollout, they also rolled out software with some improvements. For example, before, when a patch would come through on your games and your console was full, you would be forced to delete your other games in order to make room for the patch of the existing game that's already stored. Which sucks, because you're like, well, it's not my fault that the game got bigger while I had everything neatly stored in here, but now I have to get rid of shit to deal with that. So they've patched it so that now you can fix that by deleting the same game that it's updating. It'll eat into its own space by deleting that game's temporary data, temporarily deleting that game's data and then replacing it with the patched version. So essentially, it doesn't need to create more space, and you don't have to go in and delete extra shit, which is nice when you don't have a whole lot of space, which, you know, I feel like I'm always running up against the limit.
Again, this is like, this is a fix, not a ad. This is how it should have worked at the beginning.
And once, of course, you get this update and sign up for it, you will be automatically quietly opted in to Google ad stats for the eShop in your online account.
Out right now?
Google Analytics are going to be opted in, nice and quiet. So, you know. What you want to do?
Is that the last update?
Yeah, that's correct. So what you want to do is...
oh my god.
Oh, easy, careful.
I hit the wrong button.
You want to go to the eShop, go to your profile, go to your account info. At the bottom of the page, click Google Analytics Preferences, and then click Change, and then select Don't Share, so that you are not automatically opted in to the Google Analytics that are that were not existing prior to this update. Unless you want to, which is fine. So, that's going down, and then that's.
I would turn that off.
Yeah, eShop.
Do that on the eShop
profile.
Profile on the not account information.
Account info.
Yeah.
Bottom of the page, Google Analytics Preferences.
Okay, it's not up there yet.
You didn't update yet, then.
Yeah, okay, I'll make sure to fix that when that happened.
Right. What else we got? There's, of course, we already talked about Audacity, so it's right in that.
Audacity, that shit.
Okay. So this week was pretty fucking weird for for Apex Legends. They had quite an interesting week. Have you caught the news?
I have caught the news a little bit.
Okay.
There's been an act of Apex Legends terrorism.
The Apex Legends terrorism has denied everyone the ability to play because essentially they've DDoSed the game and they've hacked it to put a message up to anyone who plays Apex. They will now see a new content button that simply says savetitanfall.com.
Mm-hmm.
When you go there, first thing you'll see is some folks going, hey, we have nothing to do with the hacking of Apex Legends or anything that happened there. However, something that's been happening in the background for some time now is Titanfall 1 has been completely unplayable because a number of people who are very upset and had a grudge of some kind basically realized that they could they could DDoS the game into not being playable for anyone ever, completely overflowing the servers. And the Save Titanfall website breaks down exactly how they're doing it and how many different ways they're doing it. And it's kind of insane because it's a multi-threaded operation where there's like, they're attacking from like multiple vector points. So even if you get past the initial problem by like hacking by basically like editing your own game files to like not look for whatever's stopping you, which is in some cases an extra long username that's calling for a disconnect from the servers. At the next level, it's like every room is being filled up with a bunch of like spoofed players, which have like slur name accounts and shit like that. And like there's multiple, and then there's like messages with like kind of like whatever jargon and garbage being spilled out. But it's interesting because the website goes through like a 7 or 8 step process of showing you all the different ways that the people who wanted to kill Titanfall are keeping it killed. And this has been a known issue for a long time. But what is extra shitty about it is that, considering the games are still on sale, anyone who buys them is buying the ability to stare at the main menu and listen to the music, because you can purchase a game that is completely unplayable.
Yeah, there's a thing. This happens. It's kind of funny because it's like Respawn has a lot of experience with this, in that Call of Duty games that are more than 18 months old also completely fall apart. They become infested shit zones.
See, I would assume just cheating and rampant hacking would be the problem there, as opposed to complete denial of an ability to play the game.
Yeah, but I mean, in the end result is the game becomes an unplayable fucking piece of shit. The difference is whether or not you can get into a match and it's the fucking worst conceivable match you could ever see, versus it doesn't even let you get into that match. So, the only ones that are ever really supported is the ones that are the most recent.
So the short of this essentially is that Titanfall 1 was it was hacked into becoming completely unplayable, and Respawn has not responded and acknowledged it. EA hasn't acknowledged it, and they've essentially just kind of left it in a dead zombie state. And then another hacker, perhaps, I guess, fed up with that, decided, well, if Titanfall 1 is no longer playable, then Apex will no longer be playable. And then on July 4th, made Apex Legends no longer playable, which then did elicit an immediate response from Respawn, going, they're looking into it and shit, because obviously it's their active product, and the whole thing is now... I don't know what the current state of the story is as of this morning, but at least as of last night, they were basically like looking into more or less fixing Apex, but I don't think there's been any acknowledgement of the Save Titanfall aspect of the story. And the Save Titanfall people, and again, themselves are like, yeah, we don't know who did this hack, and we are not the ones behind it, and they want Titanfall saved without necessarily like denying Apex at the same time. But fucking wild story here, and Titanfall 1 is it's worth saving and playing.
They're not going to do shit.
If I might surprise you with my takes here.
There's literally 0% chance that they will do anything about this, other than in a couple years, if Titanfall 3 does happen, they'll be like, look, it's playable, like in an interview. We made a new one.
I did get the word. I remember when word on the street was coming in that Titanfall 2 was being attacked as well. I do remember that. And I'm seeing someone here saying that Apex was still playable. The hack was benevolent. All you had to do was back out of the menu and re-enter the game. But I've seen a lot of people reporting about their inability to play it. So is that perhaps just people not knowing that part of it? Or is that just not true?
Oh, who knows? Not me. I don't know. All I know is that my dog loves Titanfall and he's very upset. No, they've abandoned it. They don't care. Like EA and Steam and Ubisoft, like, this is a known problem, and the refund policy has luckily been implemented pretty much everywhere, so it helps with this. But they'll gladly sell you games that don't work anymore.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
They don't
That's
check.
That's super fucked.
It used to be way more fucked when you would buy it and you'd be like, I want a refund, this doesn't work. And they'd be like, LOL. Who cares?
I mean, once upon a time, there was no digital storefront, and you would buy it physically off of a shop that just kept it up there forever. And then
then you'd go back if it didn't work, and they'd be like, LOL. Get out of my fucking GameStop.
Man, this world of I mean, this is one form of like you know, obsolescence of a game if it literally just stays in the dead forever as long as it's hacked to shit. But like the other version of this where like, you know, games come up for a limited time, MMOs and shit like that, and then like it's like now they're gone forever and there's nothing you can do, and it's up to a bunch of people to basically hack it back into being playable. Is some fucking like, it's garbage, man. I hate that aspect of this new digital era. And the Save Titanfall
MMOs
website
got really weird with it.
And the Save Titanfall website actually specifies too that like they did say that they're like the players can hack the game to run, like it would be possible to coordinate a like a player run server where they hack it to basically be their own thing separate from the official accounts, and they could go with that whole initiative, but they want it to be officially recognized and fixed because that like because it still kills the community to have to create your own alternative place to go in and play it that anyone who's new doesn't know about and won't understand.
It's a shit show.
So I imagine like as a last resort, if a certain amount of time goes by and like they still have no fucking nothing to say about this, eventually people will get together and pull a City of Heroes and just kind of like run their own, you know,
if they're not going to fix this, then it is absolutely the moral prerogative of anyone who has the ability to rip that game apart and get a pirate version of Titanfall 2 at least running right now, so that people who want to play it can. Because currently it's a brick. Titanfall 1 as well, right? Like it's if the game doesn't work no more, you feel free to make a version of it that works.
Not that it's likely, but you know, for the random people that stumble across it and might want to give it a shot, still sucks that there's like nothing there, but you know. Yeah. So that went down, and then we had this one, which you're probably going to be a little more experienced and well versed in the implications of this.
Hit me.
Konami and Bloober Team have announced a strategic partnership deal. And the effect of this is that Bloober Team is probably going to be working on... Oh, shit. Okay.
Hello?
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 That was fucking weird. I thought Discord crashed and then it didn't. You're still here?
I'm still here, but I don't see you anymore.
Where the fuck? What? Oh, okay, the computer exploded. Hold on a second. What the fuck?
Okay.
Oh, that's a weird one. That's new. All right, you're back.
Do you want to take a 2 minutes so that we can fix the audio and
Hold on. Wait. Did the new Audacity explode? Oh no.
Not mine.
Oh no. The new Audacity.
The dark Audacity?
The dark Audacity. Okay.
What happened?
Abort, retry, ignore. Ignore. All right.
You want to take a second and we can export these?
Wait, no, it's still going. Wait, what was... Okay.
We're
good. We're good. We're good. We go. Let's just go.
Where are you?
I'm here.
I can't see you anymore. It's just me now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I mean, that's fine. I just can I be seen?
You can be seen.
Okay, good. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right, so I face palmed at Bloober Team and then I died, apparently.
Yes.
Continue to tell me about Bloober Team.
Bloober Team, or rather, so it has agreed to work on Silent Hill for Konami. And apparently they don't like us talking about this because shit's getting attacked. But they made The Medium. Now, I don't know that much about The Medium. I believe you mentioned it.
I did.
But I did hear what you told us about it. And then I did read a little bit about what happens beyond the part that you talked about.
You did?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
So how far did you get?
I got about 3 hours in, I want to say. And then I was like, hey, this game is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people in my chat were like, hey, you don't even know how bad it is because the game's message is like evil. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then they told me what the game's like, the Medium's message is. And it's like a story that's like bordering on immoral.
So I believe it can be summed up in 2 sentences.
Yeah.
You can't save everyone, and it's all your fault.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard here. So
the takeaway that I can go in one sentence for the Medium's message is victims that can't get over their trauma should just kill themselves. That's that game's actual message.
That sounds about similar to what I heard as well. Yes. Okay. Okay, everything's exploding. Time to stop this and fix the problem. Be right back if you guys can hear me.
Boop.
Okay, so over the course of the last 10 years, we've used a whole lot of Audacity, and we've gotten used to it, and what works and what doesn't work, and we've learned its intricacies. It seems that the process of switching over to a different program removes all of that confidence and understanding of the software that we've been using. And this doesn't fill me with good feelings. I don't like the idea that I don't know enough about Dark Audacity to know whether or not it's going to explode my computer and kill it midway through a recording. But it did recover the file.
So that's cool.
Nice. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what? Maybe Russia can just have my fucking data.
But Wooly, what about your plans to kill the Prime Minister? Are you sure you want to say those out loud so that the cops can have them?
I mean, look, man. The audio laptop next to me over on the TV side is literally not connected to the internet, so there's no data to go anywhere anyways.
Smart.
I only got Audacity on it by USB stick, you know.
That's good. That's smart.
So that shit's a prison. Anyways,
unless they're coming in your house.
Anyways, we were trying to talk about the Bloober Team and why this story, when it dropped, was such a huge explosion of Silent Hill fans being really, really upset because I didn't understand it, and a bunch of people in the comments were like, yeah, so new companies working on this name, what's the big deal? Now, some people believed that Kojima was secretly working on a new Silent Hill game because of some weird ARG shit.
Yeah, that's insane. That's
yes,
stupid.
It is. Yeah, and no. The neighing and braying of farm animals notwithstanding, we fucking take a look at this game here, The Medium, and apparently, according to the summary as posted on Twitter by someone who basically was like, let me take an opportunity to explain to anybody who doesn't know about The Medium where it actually goes. Where was this? Bob Vids on Twitter, I believe. Who explains that the medium kind of, we're going to spoil some details. It sounds like the main evil force in the medium is a monster energy. Well, not monster energy. It is an evil.
Delicious.
It is an evil
monster energy.
An evil force which came out of an evil person who molested children and abused people in the past, and is literally a rapist. And then that manifested into some evil force, which is the major antagonist, I understand. And that force then goes on to possess people around the abuse victim in the game.
You have a detail wrong. And it's an incredibly important detail.
Okay.
The monster comes from the victims.
Okay. So then what does this ending, like, how does that, what happens here?
Well, the monster can't be stopped, so the only way to deal with the victim's trauma is to shoot them in the face with a gun. It's the only way to get over the monster trauma.
And the monster,
to kill the victim.
The monster comes from the rapist and then possesses the victim.
No.
Okay.
It's purely from the trauma.
And makes them all turn into, like, murderers and killers and
yeah.
evil.
So the monster child raper, they're not really responsible. It's really the traumatized children that are responsible for the monster. And the only way to deal with them is to shoot them.
And in their moment of clarity, they go, the monster is still within me. As long as I'm alive, then everyone will be in danger.
Yeah.
And then the game literally says you can't save everyone.
You can't save them. Nope, they gotta go. It really was the victims all along who were the real monster. That's direct. That's not. I started that out as a joke. And no, that's what the game is actually saying. The victims were the real monster all along.
Now, fucked up beyond all belief, narrative aside, was this...
The game's also bad!
It's functional, scary game?
It's also really bad and boring!
Well, yeah. Okay. Alright.
We went from, Team Silent making hot bangers to a bunch of weird teams no one had ever heard of making, kind of trash, except for Shattered Memories is pretty good. And then now we're going on to, teams that have made games in the style of Silent Hill that were terrible. It's just a downward slope all the way down.
Victim blaming evolves to victim shooting.
Yeah, there you go. Do not put that as the title of this podcast.
I did not think that no, that's not that's no. There isn't any other way to interpret a woman suffering from child abuse asking you to kill her and the game popping a chivo that reads, might as well, while overtly stating that she'll perpetuate trauma as long as she's alive. Jesus fucking Christ,
oh, yeah.
man.
It's wow.
Popping a chivo on top of it. Wow. Yeah, okay. All right. That was the one with the anime hair on the cover, right? With the white hair?
A little bit.
Yeah. Silent Hill. It's good hands. It's good. It's good.
It's up there. It is, in my mind, tied with the other worst achievement ever, which
God of
is
War?
from... No. You probably didn't hear about it because it's a shitty, obscure game, but it's Call of Juarez: The Cartel.
I've heard of that game, yeah.
And there's an achievement called Gangbanger, which is kill every enemy in the level. And it is the only level that has that achievement. And it's the only level in the game where every enemy is black.
How many points was it worth?
I don't know. You could look it up.
Okay. Okay. It's good. It's good.
I can, you know what? I'll look it up.
It's good Chivo design there. Yeah. I thought okay, because I've mentioned before I think there's two actually in God of War, if I'm remembering. It's been a while. But
did they change that?
Oh? Update? What's up?
So the achievement is called Bad Guy, and it's during the gangbang mission, and it's you have to kill 40 plus enemies. But I still believe it is the only achievement that has that.
Okay.
Oh. Oh, it totally is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is the only mission that has kill X amount of enemies.
Yeah, that's fucked. It was a while ago when so I don't remember all the details, but I do remember hearing about the God of War. I think it was Ascension and one of the older ones. Maybe it was 3. The ones where you got the Chivo for like I didn't do it but I wish I did or something like that, or it wasn't me, or but there was, and like then there was like Bros Before Hoes, I think was the other one. But it was basically like one of them was like stomp in the Fury, like beat the shit out of the out of the lady, and then there was like a weird like thing with it, and then there was the slave cage door girl thing. I don't know if you remember that one. I'm you know what, I'm butchering this
Poseidon's
story.
daughter.
Maybe, yeah, where she holds, and then like I think there's again it's been a while, but like those things just come to mind with the like, what the fuck are you doing with the achievements, guys? Come on, you know. Anyway,
Was it? I'll find this shit.
yeah, I'm seeing Bros Before Foes for the for the one where he stomps out the Fury, but the door one, I feel like there was something like about like it wasn't me, or so I vaguely recall something along those lines where it's just like that's a weird flavor to put there, even if it's like, oh, I remember there was a discussion about like, well, it's not this member that like that's not the dev that does this, but a member of the team, and it's like, yeah, I remember how the achievements go. Someone on the team makes a decision after the fact. It's not the same person who's writing the scenarios and doing the whole thing, but either way, it adds a weird fucking ass like creepy tone to the whole thing. But regardless, Bloober Team, did they do anything else?
Not to my knowledge. Let me go check. I will go check. Polish video game developer. They also did Layers of Fear, where they got accused of stealing all that art, and Observer, which I played through, which was pretty good. Let me just type in Layers of Fear plagiarism. How the here's the video. How the Bloober Team, how the Layers of Fear dev copy pasted their way to notoriety.
Yeah. Okay, no, sorry. The trophy thing was only for Ascension. The other thing with the girl as the doorstop was just a random moment. That's what it was, right?
Yeah, it was awful.
Pretty uncomfortable. Did you get any inklings of this in the medium so far as the first couple hours? Like,
no, it was just boring and kind of trash. Yep. It was just kind of trash. You want to play a Silent Hill game? That's not a Silent Hill game that you probably missed. Go play Lone Survivor. That game's excellent.
I remember you were praising it. Yeah.
It's made by the guy who made Quiet Mountain 2.
Hey, I'm sorry to hear that the franchise that was dead that you like is still dead.
I feel like it's being like defiled in its grave. Like what is the ending of the next Silent Hill game to be? Like fucking take your belt out and hit a QTE to beat the evil out of the demon child? Like what?
Yeah.
Is that where this is headed?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh man. I forgot that anyway, whatever. I forgot that last time that God of War stuff got brought up, a bunch of people were like, "Oh, it's no big deal. Well, you guys are over exaggerating." And I was just like, "Oh, that's like real. Like, what the fuck, guys? Come on. I don't want to fucking." Anyway, some of y'all are fucking weird with that shit, and
yeah.
There's not much else to interpret there. If you can't see how that's fucked up on surface, then I don't know what else to say. It was an edgier time. It certainly was. But at that edgy time, I was still like really, really weirded out by that. Yeah. Anyway. Don't act like other games aren't super fucked up too. Fair. Of course there are.
Of course they are.
Of course there are. But that was a standout moment of a random like woman being like shoved into a fucking gear. It was so weird and unnecessary. It stands out as a moment of weirdness. Like that the whole tone of it was just jarringly strange. And if you can't see why or how, I don't know how else to communicate it to you.
Yeah.
It's an evident thing.
You were playing Yakuza 0, right?
Yeah.
You know what was fucked up?
Yeah.
You remember when that guy just shot that lady for nothing?
I might not have. I don't remember which side quest.
It wasn't a side quest. It's part of the main story.
Oh, no. I think that was. Might have been before, or I think I don't remember hitting that. Did I?
You fought Kuze in the sewer, right?
Yeah. Oh my god! Yes, in the club. Yeah, right. Totally.
Just shoots her for no reason.
Yes, right. Yeah, that thing. Yes, totally. Yeah,
it's fucked up.
The Nathan Copeland test.
Yeah.
Right. That thing. Yes. Just
it's the most fucked up thing in the whole game.
Yep. And No More Heroes, same thing. I just immediately, first boss, like, what? Why? And like now they're in between you, being used as lightsaber meat? Like, what the fuck? Super weird. I don't know. It just, and I say this like, I'm like, yeah, you play Mortal Kombat and you see fucking brutalities and shit in that, but it's context. It's all just context, right? If a random passerby is just getting ripped to pieces over nothing, like that lady in Jurassic World.
Oh man!
Right? it's not about like it's the full context of the person and what's happening with it and behind it and why and what it, like, is there anything at all, like, what was the point? What is this? Just because, like, that's where I look sideways at shit like Elfen Lied, and I'm like, are you just jerking off to the gore? Because you're zooming in really close on these guts, and it makes it of this random unnamed secretary, unnamed character in the show. We're getting really close up in those guts, and I'm just like, are you supposed to be whipping it out here? Like, what?
That's what Tomb Raider is about.
You know? It's weird. So, yeah, I don't know. All of this context shit matters. And if you're arguing like for that, like, if you can't see how that's weird, I literally have no other points except for, like, all right, man, I hope you're doing well. Because that's weird.
Let's never hang out.
I hope you're doing well. Man, that was, not great. A bunch of people came out to be like, fuck off, God of War was not a big deal. It was funny. It was fine. It wasn't. And it was just like, no.
It was not even intended to be funny by the game.
No. Anyway. All right. Yeah, Bloober Team. I don't know what to tell you, man. They're bad. They're bad. I can't believe a script like that got greenlit and produced and put on a shelf, and every step of the way, it was totally okay. That's fucking. Like, I want to believe that, like, is there some part of this that is, like, up to interpretation? But the way this is phrased sounds pretty explicit. So, yeah.
I'll say this to you about that. Usually, when I describe something in such inflammatory terms, there is an army of people ready to tell me how stupid and wrong I am, and that has yet to happen. Nobody wants to be the person defending this game.
Yeah. Like, I was prepared to hear, like, oh, like, I don't know, they got, like, other M Samisified or you know, like, just or what's her name, fucking Third Birthday, you know, or like just weird isms like that. But that's and Third Birthday is pretty rough, but that's
pretty rough.
That's one of the more extreme. Anyway,
let's get on to some better news. You got better news?
Nope, just some letters.
Oh, great. Always good news in those. If you want to send us good news, please send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
Is Third Birthday the worst example? No, I would actually say The Medium currently sounds like the worst example right now. That's one of the single worst game stories I've ever heard. If that's how that plays out. That's horrifyingly shit.
And the game is bad.
Yeah, that's Cagean in its quality.
All right, who do we got emails?
Let's take one over here from James says, "Dear Virtual Wolves and Pat Tuber, during last week's podcast, he talked about a possible Sonic VTuber and then talked about Mario doing the same as well. Want to say this already happened. There was a virtual rig of Mario that Charles Martinet was hooked up to at Nintendo store in New York City and at trade shows. And when I was a kid, you got to go ask questions. I asked him, why do you always invite Wario to Mario Party, but he never invites you to WarioWare? And
that's a great question.
The model then switched to Wario, and he went on a rant about how Mario was... wait, hold on. About how he didn't need Mario. So that's pretty cool. They already kind of did this.
Yeah, so I spoke to, I think it was Eli I spoke to, and he described to me that, like, Martinet came on for the voice of Mario as a result of the Mario 64 head, like, title screen shit. like, you know, where he was like a big floating head that would talk and stuff like that. And on top of that, Luigi's voice came about as a variation of that voice that wouldn't trip the rig's sensors, so that he could do it and not have the Mario head move.
Ah.
So that's what Luigi's voice is.
Whoa.
It's the ventriloquist version of Mario by Charles Martinet.
Interesting. I never heard that. Cool.
So Mario is the first VTuber. Like, straight up.
This tech was already out there.
Was that like 97?
I gotta annoy right now. This is a top. Okay. I have to address a comment here. I'm curious because I legit want to know. Don't know why Wooly frets so much over morality in fiction unless it's spreading a bad message like The Medium. I don't get the fuss. So I just want to know, because I'm legitimately curious. Like, for me, it comes from a place where I'm just like, I just wonder what the point of writing that moment was, or what they were thinking. What was the person who was creating that moment in the game, or the writer, thinking? Right? That's what I think. That's what I wonder. That's about the beginning, and that's the totality of it. It's like, what was your thought here? Because if it was something really like creepy, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of it. Like, obviously it's not real, but I think it should be understandable that if the person who's writing something that's just in there for no reason, that's like weirdly gratuitous in a like strange way, it's not the game real world confusion happening, but the person who put that there, what were they thinking putting that in there? What was the intention behind that? There's a real person who wrote that, right? Is that not a reasonable question?
Whenever I think about this, I always think back to the perfect example, because we have the direct answers, which is, why has Quiet got her titties out in MGS5 all the time? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Kojima says it's because of the skin thing and the you know, and then the story says it's because of the skin thing and blah, blah, blah. But that's not the real reason. The real reason, you can actually go back to an earlier interview, and it's Kojima's like, I want to see a bunch of chicks dressed up with the titties out at a cosplay convention.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, okay, that was the real reason. That's really simple. I don't know why you didn't want to repeat that in the future.
Sure. Right. You know.
No one can fight you on it.
Or go full Yoko Taro and ask them to send you zip files. Just,
right.
By all means.
And so there's like, you know, when a story goes a certain way, you're like, it's interesting to wonder, like, oh, what do you think the author was thinking about when they wrote this or whatever? I have had to run this little conversation around and around and around and around as I've gone through multiple Yakuza games, and I talked about characters, and I talked about what the game is saying. And, like, my answer is really simple. It's interesting. It's interesting to talk about the different points of view that the characters or the developers or whatever have when they're making the thing. Especially if they don't align with mine. It's an interesting thing to talk about.
I mean, I just find that, like, there's these moments where, like, like surprising amounts of people when this type of stuff comes up, like, run defense in a weird way where it's like, I get that it's not a real thing, but the motivations as to, like, what the point of this is are still something I'm curious about, and I'm gonna bring up if it strikes me as like, well, that's fucking, like, what was the point of that elfin light gore? What was it? Like, I would like
what it
to
was.
know. Yes, but do they know what it was, and are they secretly, like, hoping that it's not, or pretending it's not? I don't know. You know, but it seems like weird.
When I beat Disco Elysium, that was one of my favorite parts about it, was that almost every game is like afraid to like say something, like actually say it.
Mm-hmm.
And in Disco Elysium, you're like, stop saying it. Like, it's so, like, every single line of dialogue is like I feel like I'm talking to the author.
Mm-hmm. Like, if,
like, can't get away from it.
Like, people who hear me say this and get really annoyed and decide, like, fucking Wooly and his weird video game moralism or whatever, like, not to straw man, but, like, it depends on which instance, because clearly we can see the medium is fucking, it's beyond fucked in this way. But, like, you know, I remember I had this discussion, like, I'm talking about Elfen Lied because it's such a clear-cut, weird one.
Elfen Lied's great. I saw somebody yell out, it didn't mean anything, Wooly, and when you were talking about Elfen Lied, and it's like, no one believes that. Nothing means nothing because they put it in for any reason, even if the reason is simple as, I think gore is super cool.
Like, if you want to nut to the gore, then nut to the gore. Like, and say that, and be that, and that's what it is. But that's probably going to make a lot of people be like, that's worrying. So then we get a weird in-between thing of like, okay, well, it's not obviously that, but, and then this is the other part too, where I bring up the camera, and then some folks get mad because I talk about the camera, but it's like when it's, you know, it's like when you make a direction choice here to show so the motivations as to why you choose to display and do these things and put these things and write these things in a certain way.
You know, like, whose fault this is? You know whose fault this is, really? Like, genuinely? It's bad English teachers. Because I remember the way that we learned how to dissect stories in English class was to go over every single line of fucking dialogue and go and ask the kids, what did this mean? And you would go, I don't fucking know. I don't know why the author wrote that their fucking shirt was green. Maybe their shirt's just fucking green. And your teacher would go, no, but what did it really? And, like, the teacher didn't know either. They were just, like, forcing you to be introspective. But it causes the opposite reaction where you grow up just fucking pissed off and frustrated that, like, not literally every detail has to mean something. Some of it can just be stylistic. Some of it can just be the cut of their jib. But when it's a specific or thematic or large part of the thing, it's unlikely that it was just put there to be there.
Okay.
When you play
sense.
Metal Gear Solid,
that makes
and there's
sense.
a Moai head in every room in the game.
Yeah.
Right? All that means is that Kojima thinks the Moai head looks cool. Right. I don't think there's a secret message. But when Snake spends a 45-minute discussion talking about how terrified he is that nuclear waste is disappearing from storage facilities, that probably means the team is worried about that topic.
Right. Okay. No, I follow. That's a pretty... Yep. In some cases, it's just what it is. That makes sense. That being said, if I encounter...
I just saw somebody says it means that Gradius was tight. All right. You know what? You're right. Because Gradius is sick. Everyone should play Gradius. Those games are classics.
And when I'm playing the game that has the girl murdered in the doorstop gears for the purpose of just holding the door open, and we move on being big and edgy, then it's like, if it's just meant to be cool, then I go
for the edge.
Then I guess it. Then I look at that and I go, "Oh, that's not cool. That's a fucking."
I promise
you're not
that we in this discussion have spent more time talking about it than any of the devs that put it in.
Probably. I would. It was only, and if it was just like the like say it and move on bit, If it didn't go over with such a tumultuous reception every time this topic came up, it would be more than fine to just leave it alone. But the level of amount of people that are like, nah, Wooly, and I'm like, okay, no, wait, what am I missing here? It makes me really want to know. So that makes sense. It's just don't think too hard about it. It's edgy and cool. And I'm like, all right, I find it creepy, but that's that.
So every time that comes up, it's really simple, because the people who go, it's just edgy and cool, you can take two paths. You can say there's actually a more complex answer somewhere deep in the author or whoever's head. Or the person who put it in there also thought, shut up, it's just edgy and cool. And there was no depth to their idea at all.
And whatever X percentage of the time, the person who's like just thinking "shut up, it's edgy and cool" also has a boner. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
sometimes
wiggle your big toe. Just wiggle your big toe.
Sometimes "shut up, it's edgy and cool" and my pants are tight. Leave it alone. We move on.
Just when we're gonna be in that car and Death Proof, make sure to have that girl's whole ass leg outside the window with the camera 3 inches from her foot.
Don't read too hard into it.
It's just a weird way to drive a car.
Don't read too much into it. Wongo says, "Hey, Willie and Pat, going through the older clips of the podcast, I noticed that you constantly refer to the MGS1 version of Gray Fox as his title card name, Cyborg Ninja. I found this interesting because you're the only people, both online and offline, I know of that do this. It seems everyone refers to him as Gray Fox, regardless of which version they're discussing. I'm curious what your reasons are for doing this, and are there any other instances of characters being referred to in a very temporary pseudonym socially, rather than by their more generalized name?"
Metal Gear Solid was the first Metal Gear game I played, so when he came up as Cyborg Ninja, that's the name that ingrained itself. And then later he became Gray Fox, but he was still the Cyborg Ninja, Gray Fox.
And I believe that's how he pops up. That's literally the title that pops up.
Whereas if you had played Metal Gear 2, and you would have been like, "Oh, that's Gray Fox," then later when you find out that it was actually Gray Fox all along,
that's what we saw. That's what we were introduced to. That's the first thing you encounter him with, and then that just stuck. And then later on, it's other things. But yeah, that Also, I think for the same reason, I call Olga, and not Cyborg Ninja 2.
Yeah.
Because you meet her first as Olga.
First. And then she becomes Cyborg Ninja, and then later you're like, it was Olga.
Yeah. Here we are given an opportunity to say Cyborg Ninja again, but this time around it goes the other way. So,
yep. Ironically enough, I literally have never called Raiden a Cyborg Ninja.
No. He's been Raiden because he's Raiden.
Despite the fact that he is
the third incarnation.
Cyborg ninja that there ever was.
So the answer is whatever you introduce the character as is who they're going to be going forward, no matter what else happens to them. In quick speak, anyway. All right, and one more. From Mike saying, "Hey, Willie and Pat, to get to the point, are there any fighting games out there that give you a same or similar freedom of movement as Smash Brothers? What games have the most interesting movement systems in your opinion? I've messed with a few fighting games over the years and I've bounced off of them because they're too rigid for the way you move. I like Smash because of its variety of movement options, double jumps, dodges, DI, and recovery, etc. When combined with the ring-out style format. It also makes the strategy of stage control feel more fluid and dynamic to me. I did enjoy Soul Calibur 2 a lot, but I never had the urge to keep up with the series I have with Smash. It feels more restrictive, even with the 3D space to move around in. I know
Rivals
of
of Aether?
So maybe there's an arena fighter I'm ignorant about you can recommend. Rivals of Aether is probably the second best Smash clone.
The only one I can think of.
The first...
Zone of the Enders 2 versus mode? I don't know if that counts.
The first best Smash clone probably being Smash Ultimate. Heyo.
That's good. That's really good. That's good. That's a Tekken game now.
I think favorite movement options in fighters, for me, to get really extreme with it, I'm going to say Gundam, Extreme versus Maxi Boost On. Gundam X versus M-Bon. The movement in that shit is fucking crazy. And it's like all the cool shit with the movement in Virtua On, but expanded upon and juiced up to the nth degree. It's wild. I'm gonna put that probably as the most extreme and like fast paced, like left, right, up, down, like 3-dimensional insanity. Like you're moving like high speed Gundams do in the anime. I put that at probably the top. Super Dash makes Dragon Ball look like the movement is more fancy than it is, but you have very little control over that. Yeah. But it adds to the spectatorness of it. But you're not controlling any of that aspect. If you were, that'd be fucking insane. It'd be like, yo, they're locking on from super far away and whatever.
That'd be too much.
Yeah. But as far as fighting games go, Mbon X versus. All right,
we did it. Podcast in the bag.
Good enough for me.
Goodbye, everybody.